tournament where my friend John said he found a body in the bushes over there. I ran over there because I'm a healing monk to try and help, but obviously my magic wasn't strong enough because the dude's body was missing a head. So my friend decided to try and use a necromancer spell, which didn't work, which I knew it wouldn't. And apparently we contaminated the crime scene because that spell uses a lot of glitter.
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case!
I gotta tell you, you brightened my day, ma'am. All right?
That's what the last guy said, and then he sued me.
Hallelujah. I hope y'all have your coffees ready, because what a day in the Karen Reed trial. Day 6 was such a roller coaster. I was going from angry to happy to angry again to gravely concerned to where are these tears coming from? I mean, I was all over the place. So to help us get through today's recap and reaction to day 6 of the trial is someone you may know from this show, someone you may know from other shows she has been on. You may have seen her on Court TV. Please welcome in the chat my friend Loren Katie.
Hey. Yes.
So nice
they're all
to see you.
They're all accurate. And yes, it is awesome to see you too, my friend. It has been too long.
Oh, girl. I mean, what if you walked in the door to your home and your family said, "How was Karen's trial today?" Like, what would you say in a couple of sentences?
Oh, and I couldn't. Like, I'd probably start going on about something for an hour because there was too much. I mean, first of all, I would say, well, the defense completely made a prosecution witness, a big one, a defense witness.
Oh, 100%.
And he admitted that there's reasonable doubt. The phone absolutely could have been in the house. That's huge. And then I would also be like, and then Jen McCabe took the stand. And she obviously got acting lessons between last trial and this trial. And she's a whole new, softer Jen.
Summer highlights, the spray tan, all of it.
Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
Hey, Clerk Jim. Clerk Jim's here. My goodness. I saw so much backpedaling on behalf of Ian Whiffin. He came across as very confident when he was on his direct, and we all saw that he was omitting quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit. But today, the Investigator came in and was ready to play 100%. That man is so effective.
He's great.
So effective even that he used one Commonwealth witness to impeach another Commonwealth witness before they even took the stand.
That is art. It's just pure art, what he did. I mean, that's and now I understand the Commonwealth's the lineup. You can tell I'm a sports fan. It's making more sense. But he also set us up to take one down, and then right after the other, we're going to take the other one down. So thank you for choosing the way that you're listing your witnesses. It makes a lot more sense now.
You put all the bowling pins right like this. Yesterday I was confused by, the order in which these witnesses are being put forward. I was very surprised by it.
Yeah,
like,
I think I'm
going.
I think I'm catching on a little maybe, but like I don't know for sure. But I think they're also putting on the people that don't have to talk a lot about Proctor first, because I think
Mhm.
once they hear the devastation that Proctor did to this case, that's it. Like, so I think they're
Why
putting on
save him for
those.
last?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just think he's thinking he can build a strong enough case, because in most trials, like the defendant is guilty and they usually make up their mind, let's be honest, after the prosecution's case is, so if you're right there and then you've got the jury and then you save that little nugget for last, he's hoping that it'll withstand what they put forth. But this
Sure.
I don't know, and then I think he put on people like Carrie and Jen, because he's hoping that they'll forget about him in the middle with some, I don't know. That's just I'm like, because nothing else makes sense as to how he's calling them. So yeah.
None whatsoever. Yeah, I've been so confused because it seemed to me at first, like at least as of yesterday, like the Commonwealth case in chief. Because I mean, think about it. We started with Timothy Nuttall, and then we go to Carrie Roberts, and those were two strikeouts
A
too. But
disaster.
that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. But
Yes.
then we have a couple other somewhat third party, somewhat first responders, followed by Ian Whiffin. And so I'm thinking, as of yesterday, is the Commonwealth's case in chief. Karen backed her car into Officer O'Keefe. She left him there. He passed away of his injuries plus hypothermia. And oh, by the way, the other part of our case in chief is that the Google search didn't happen at 2:27 in the morning.
Yeah, they're all over the place. They really are all over the place. They started out playing offense, which is what didn't happen last time. But now they're having to backtrack and they're having to play more defense because of this, the amazing cross that's been done so far on every single one of their witnesses. So,
Yes,
yeah.
and I was so pleased with technically, this is our trial debut of Alessi that we saw today. This is
Yes.
the first witness that before the jury, Alessi cross-examined. This is the jury's first time seeing him go to work. So I mean, we've all seen him pre-trial. We've seen him in all these hearings. We even saw him yesterday in the evidentiary hearing with ARCA, but this
Yeah.
was, the jury's first impression of him, and boy, did he impress.
I mean, he's just the right amount of fire with the right amount of charisma, with the right amount of respect. Like it is just
Yes.
all there. And yeah, he's awesome. He is fire and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I
and
am
how can
here
you
for it.
not adore him? Like, he's
Yeah.
so full of quirks, he's so quaint, um, and so respectful and precious,
He is
but
precious. He is.
yes.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
you can't help but love him,
Yes.
even someone who maybe is inclined not to, like Beverly.
So, Britt, give me a second. It says my battery is low, so I may have to come off and go on strictly Wi-Fi. And if
Oh,
that
that's fine.
happens, I'm gonna go out for a minute. Give me 2
That's
seconds here.
That's all good. I'll
Okay.
go ahead and of course, SB, it is okay that you share this stream on X. What do you think, this is a secret club? You're more than welcome to share with a friend, and you're also welcome to leave your touch DNA evidence on the like and subscribe buttons. That is allowed and encouraged. And if you are not here because you like this type of material, but because you just want to be a troll, I recommend that you like this video too, because it'll help your fellow trolls find this video so they too can troll. So please consider doing that. Let me,
Okay.
while
Am I back?
Loren, you're back, but you are frozen.
Okay.
I can hear you, but all we have of you visually is the still shot.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our Ian Whiffin cross with Alessi, which was oh so effective. Present the screen. And y'all, please tell us your thoughts in the chat as this is going on. And I won't. Oh, uh-oh. We lost Loren. She'll be back. Hello, Charles. Glad you're here. Loren will be right back. She, one of her devices was running out of battery. Oh, there she is. That was quick, girl.
Sorry about that. Well, it said my battery's fully charged, and then all of a sudden it was not. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Sure. All righty. Let's welcome Robert Alessi to the pulpit.
Okay.
Oh, just look at him.
Mr. Whiffin, does that refresh your recollection with regard to an aperture report that discusses a trigger of 1162.2?
It does, thank you.
Pardon me?
It does, thank you.
And how does it refresh your recollection?
I remember seeing that several months ago.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. There's a blower on here that I'm having trouble hearing Mr. Whiffin. If you, sir, could bring the mic, it's not your fault. If you could bring it and speak a little louder, I'd appreciate it.
I recall seeing that as part of the report that I read 2 months ago.
And you recall the time of 12:31:38 now, correct?
Correct.
Let's go back to your timeline. 82. So you just spoke about a trigger 1162.2 associated with a time of 12:31:38, and we are now at the timeline of 12:31:56, correct? Objection.
Sustained.
We are now going back to the timeline, deck 82, and you see up at the top where it says health 31:56. You see that, sir?
I do.
And then it says start of health event 36 steps, 25 meters, which we have said is 84 feet or so. And this is when the device begins moving, correct?
Correct.
And that is after the trigger of 1162.2, correct? Objection.
Sustained.
Let's go to the next entry on the timeline, which is 1232.03. You see that? That's Doppler?
I do.
And then you state pocket state cleared. Is the phone at that time in a pocket?
It's impossible for me to say. I can say that the camera was blocked, but I don't know what was blocking it.
It
You're
just
saying at
seems
this
so
point the camera is
harmless,
blocked?
right?
It had been blocked, and at that
Yes.
point, it became unblocked.
So at this point, it became unblocked from a
Hello,
previous blocked
Richard.
status, correct?
Yes.
Does there have to be some human manipulation of the phone at 1232.03 for that to happen?
Technically not. There are scenarios that wouldn't require it.
Is it more likely than not that there had to have been some human contact in action for this pocket state clearing event to occur?
Yes.
1232.04 is the next. It's a type unlock. Device unlock with Face ID. You see that, sir?
I do.
Is there some human action that has to occur for the device to unlock with Face ID?
Typically, you must be paying attention to the phone.
I'm sorry, sir.
You must be paying attention to the phone, assuming that that setting's enabled.
So someone had to be looking at the phone.
Yes.
At 1232.05,
Typically.
application focus. What does that mean?
That the messages application was at the foreground of the device being used.
Next entry, 1232.06. We discussed this. It says read message pull behind me, and that is associated with a Jen McCabe. It's a Jen McCabe message
This
of
is part of why
31:47. Correct.
Correct.
You'll hear in a second when Ian corrects him on the pronunciation, because the word READ can be pronounced as read or as read. And when Whiffin says to him, "Oh, just to let you know, that means read message." And then he goes, "Oh, well, thank you so much for correcting me. I appreciate
so kind.
it."
He's so kind. And also, Ian, stop.
Oh man, I love that back and forth between the two of them. Oh man, this was crazy. I'm gonna jump forward a little more because I want to get to that aperture report.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
damning.
and I literally all just walked in from the office, so bear with me just a little bit as far as finding a time on here.
Do you need this slide up there, Mr. Alessi?
I was just going to check that. I think the answer is going to be no, Your Honor. I would now like to change gears a bit and go to temperature with an iPhone. You recall that discussion in your direct testimony?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm
Mr. Wolf, if we
uncomfortable
could,
for
please
Ian
have
right now.
the slide deck, but a different page, slide
Girl,
60.
go for it.
And just tee it up, but please don't put it on the screen yet.
Absolutely,
iPhones record
Bridget.
ambient or the environmental temperature where the
In
phone
every
may
way
be
she
at any
does.
given time, correct?
Correct.
But the iPhones, including the iPhone of John O'Keefe, log the temperature of the battery inside of it, correct?
Correct.
And as a result of that function, examiners and folks like you can use the battery temperature of an iPhone to identify increases or decreases in temperature within the environment that the iPhone is physically located in. True?
I believe so, yes.
And that's right out of your report, right? Your March 2025 report makes that very statement, correct? The battery temperature of an iPhone generally matches the pattern of the rise and the fall of the thermometer temperature, correct?
From my testing, yes.
And when an iPhone is in a lock state with little activity occurring on the device, the battery temperature is heavily affected by the ambient temperature in the environment, again, matching the pattern of the rise and the fall of the thermometer temperature, right?
Correct.
And what I just read is right out of your March 2025 report, correct?
It sounds like it is, yes.
And you actually established this in various temperature testing and test scenarios in your March 2025 report, correct?
Correct.
Let's discuss those two tests.
Oh boy.
I did think he looked nervous as soon as it was time for
You
cross,
had-
though.
Mm-hmm.
An appendix to your report that discussed two test scenarios with regard to temperature, correct?
Correct.
Can
And
I
that
just
was
ask,
had-
I'm sorry, Mr. Whiffin, do you have your report with you, sir?
I don't have a copy of it.
I'd be happy to provide him with a copy of his report so we can have him follow along.
I think that's great. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Can I just point out
Yes,
briefly
please.
that yesterday ARCA was expected to go off of, remember, Dr. Wolf was asked to just go off of his own memory on a handful of 2 to 3 minute phone calls from over a year ago as to the subject matter of those phone calls. But here, a report that Ian Whiffin just polished up and submitted in March.
And should have had with him.
Mhm.
Come on, like, hello,
Mhm.
bring that. You're going to court.
Yeah. And
Did you
here's
forget?
Bev sticking up for him. Oh, can you provide him with an extra copy, Alessi?
Shouldn't the prosecution be providing anything?
Mm-hmm.
I can't with
Brit
I can
chick.
her.
Coming in from the UK, she says, I am sorry, but I don't
Yes.
trust any expert that doesn't know the difference between Celsius and Fahrenheit. What is the freezing point
This.
again, Whiffin? You make us Brits look bad. Exactly. I
Yeah.
saw somebody defending him because he's from the UK and uses the metric system. And I said, hey, I'm from Florida. I know both.
Well, one of my best friends is a British gal from London. So we were talking about this too. And we're like, how, if you know you're going to another country to talk about someone's life that's on the line and you were called as an expert, a paid expert, did you maybe not learn at least a few pertinent degrees, sir? Like, that is so ridiculous. Like, there's no
100%.
excuse for that.
None.
There's no excuse.
None. And then I'll add this. So when he jumped in, Alessi might have not even asked him what the freezing point was. They were going down the list, and remember, they got to a bullet where it was labeled as being 33 point something degrees. And then, if you remember, Whiffin jumped in and said, it's well below freezing. And so that, I believe, because I don't think that was on Alessi's list of things to ask.
No.
But I believe that tipped Alessi off to say, what do you believe is the freezing point?
And how perfect was that? Because then we found out that he didn't even know temperature on the night in question in Canton. Like, I'm sorry, what? You're doing battery testing.
Yeah, and then
you're
he
doing
didn't think it was important. I mean,
yeah,
he
not
himself.
at all.
He was asking for it.
Would that be helpful, Mr. Whiffin?
Very, thank you.
Yes.
Rhonda, welcome in.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
There you go. Mr. Whiffin, feel free at any time to reference that report.
Thank you.
And if you could, turn to page 77.
Okay.
So, are you ready, sir?
I am. Yes.
Thank you. So let's look at test scenario 1. Test scenario 1, you took an iPhone. If I remember correctly, same model as John O'Keefe's?
I believe John O'Keefe's was an iPhone 11. I used an iPhone 10.
But sufficiently similar for purposes of this experiment?
Correct.
Right?
It's the same iOS version.
Yes.
It's not well
so
below
it's the same
freezing,
iOS version, the software inside the phone, just a different model.
Yes.
And it's a software that's important for this test, correct?
I believe so.
So you state that you placed the iPhone inside a freezer, correct?
Correct.
And now if we could, Mr. Woke, we can put that, do we have that would be page 77?
I love good old basement experiments.
Oh, yeah.
Enlarge it just a little
I
bit
can't
more.
believe he didn't
We're not
compare it
concerned
to
with the
the
text
outdoor
at this
temp.
point.
Like, I'm
So we can just get the chart as
still
large as
picking my
possible.
jaw
Thank you.
up off the floor.
Thank you.
And then Hank trying to
So,
redirect, like saying
What
it
I'd like to
didn't
do is
matter.
focus on January 29th.
Yeah, it does, Hank.
Excuse me. This is your experiment. When did you do test scenario 1, approximately the date?
This is a good question. It was sometime probably in December last year.
I'm sorry.
In December last year, I believe.
December 2024.
Correct.
So what you did here
Right,
was you
okay,
took the
I
phone,
got you.
you put it inside a freezer. What was the temperature of the freezer?
I actually don't know.
But it was a freezer.
It was freezing.
It is sort of your just
So
regular
again,
freezer that everybody has.
no
Nothing
date.
special about it.
On his report
Let's
for
look at
this.
some of the.
No, there's going to be no timestamps for anything, Loren. We are in Norfolk County, Massachusetts. Why would there be a timestamp or a date?
No wonder
Or a
they
hash-
like this guy.
Right. Why would there
He doesn't
be any
do-
metadata or a hash value? Thanks for being here making changes. Yes, 100%. It did seem like a diversion. Test, right? Or else he would have known the temperature outside.
The bottom line is John's body wouldn't have been, 81 degrees if he was out there all night. Period.
Oh, certainly not. And
It
he would
just
have
wouldn't
had
have-
signs of frostbite on the tip of his nose, his ears, and his extremities. I mean, it's obvious.
Yes.
The data that you have from it. Let's start at the 1710 time frame, where it's placed in the freezer, and and we're going to go with Fahrenheit, if that's okay with you.
Of course, yes.
Thank you. 73.4 degrees.
Correct.
And then if you go all the way down to the 1725, which would be 15 minutes, correct?
Correct.
Can you state what the drop in temperature is of the battery temperature in just 15 minutes in a freezer?
Approximately 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
50 degrees.
So about 50 degrees Fahrenheit in just 15 minutes.
Correct.
And is it fair to say that if you do the math, that that's about a little over 3.5 degrees per minute? And if Your Honor, if he wants to use a calculator, or just accept my estimate, whatever Your Honor thinks is appropriate.
However you can answer the question. Mr.
I'm happy to accept your answer. That's fine.
Let me just make sure. I have a moment, Your Honor. .33, would that sound fair, sir?
That sounds fair.
So it's about 3.3 degrees Fahrenheit per minute drop, correct?
Correct.
Oh man.
Now let's go to the next page of your report, page 78, where test scenario 2. And in test scenario 2, you took the same phone with the same software and you placed it outside at a temperature of 33.8 degrees Fahrenheit, correct?
Correct.
And will you enlarge that, please, Mr. Wolf? And if you could just scroll up, well, if you just leave it there, it's fine. So if we take the time that we start out with the control temperature, and then we've got a battery temperature at 9:02, and this is the battery temperature of the iPhone, correct?
Correct.
And we've got 66.2 degrees Fahrenheit, correct?
Correct.
So is it fair to call that a baseline for purposes of what this chart is?
The device had already been outside for 2 minutes at that point, but yes.
Okay, so we'll just refer to 66.2. And then if we go from 9:02 down to 9:15, a period of 13 minutes, correct?
Correct.
So at 33.8 degrees and 13 minutes, what is the drop in temperature in degrees? What's the drop?
Sorry, between the 9:02 and 9:15?
Right. So does it go from 66.2 to 35.6?
It does.
And sir, so I don't have to have you do a math on the fly. I've calculated it, that drop at 30.6. Does that sound about right?
That sounds correct, yes.
So you got a drop of
Again, so
30.6 degrees in just 13 minutes at an outside temperature of 33.8, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, unless he's so quaint, I'm all about it.
We're going to come back to this, but what I'd like to do is to compare these two test scenarios. The one we just saw, 33 degrees Fahrenheit, where it dropped 30.6 degrees in just 13 minutes, again, at an outdoor temperature of 33.8. Test scenario 1 in a freezer, where it dropped 61.2 degrees in just 15 minutes. Now let's go to the slide 60, which was in your slide presentation yesterday, of what you stated was the temperature change in the iPhone of John O'Keefe on the morning of January 29th. You with me, sir?
Yep.
Thank you. So if we start out at 12:13, we see a battery temperature of 82 degrees Fahrenheit, correct?
Correct.
Then it drops a little bit to 77, a little bit to 72. And what I want to focus on is keeping the starting point for my questions here at the 12:37 time period on the morning of January 29th. And that's 72 degrees Fahrenheit, correct?
Correct.
So if you take the time period from 12:37 to 12:53, that's a 15-minute interval, correct?
Correct.
The phone only drops 11 degrees Fahrenheit in 15 minutes, correct?
Correct.
If you then go to 12:37 and give it a little bit more time, down to 1:36 a.m., the temperature, and that's just about an hour, right?
Correct.
And the temperature drops from 72 to 50, only 22-degree drop in an hour, correct?
Correct.
Now, if you compare this chart in the drop in temperature, for example, 12:37, 12:53, in 15 minutes, it's only dropping 11 degrees, to your experiments, where with the first...
Oh, holy moly. Okay, Alba Gamer 82. Thank you for pointing that out. I don't have my reading glasses on. Just noticed on the report, he has an outside temp of -5 Celsius as 33.8, but on the time scale, he has 1 degree Celsius as being 33.8 Fahrenheit. So he can't even get the numbers right on his own report.
Wow.
Hallelujah.
Would not have ever caught that. That's this guy, he's so in his league, you know. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but he has no idea what he's doing.
Well, and remember, the Commonwealth had to go all the way to a global scale to get anybody who would get up on the stand and say this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
That
and
I
it's a real
believe to
slippery slope.
Yeah, that I believe to a certain degree of expert certainty that Jennifer McCabe's Google search, the one Google search, deleted itself.
Yeah.
That it deleted itself and reappeared at 6:24 a.m.
And then he couldn't even do
I'm making
that
that up.
at the end of the day. Like, he couldn't.
No. Well, I really believe that something became clear to him during the course of his testimony today, and he began to backpedal and said, you know what? I am not going to risk my reputation for this, just to put one lady in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he should have, and that's the slippery slope. You start changing around stuff like this on Celebrate. Well, guess what?
And
all the law enforcement, divisions in the company are in the country are not going to use you. That is sketchy AF. Like, oh. So it's a very slippery slope. You mean to tell me that I could have searched something 3 weeks ago, and then if I go on that same browser and search how to murder I don't know, a cat, and then I can say, no, I did that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What?
By that rationale, anybody who makes an incriminating Google search, as long as you don't close your tab, nobody's going to find out about it.
Correct. And it
leave the tab
defies
open.
common sense. Yeah. None of it made sense to me last time. This time, I was more convinced that after listening to his direct that he didn't know what he was talking about. And and then that was,
Yeah, my
painful.
biggest takeaway from his first testimony was that, he had developed his own software, Artex, and he definitely was taking the opportunity to self-promote, right?
Very much. Yeah.
And so some of us were left wondering about his motives for being there, but nobody saw this level of subatomic filleting
Yeah, it was bad.
that Alessi
So
was
bad.
capable of doing. Oh man, Alessi shows his worth in this cross.
Yes. And I'm
Scenario.
so glad he is on our team.
Oh, me too. I would not want to be at the other pulpit across from Alessi.
So with a freezer, it dropped.
I love that he did.
In a 15-minute period. Is it correct to say that there was a much more dramatic drop in temperature?
You love that what?
So I was going to wait for a silent part. I love that he also didn't test how cold his freezer was. And he was like freezing when he was asked.
I don't know.
I don't know. Freezing. Oh.
Was it a sub-zero freezer? or if it was just a regular household freezer, what the hell was it set to? Because you can put different settings on a household freezer.
Might you think that's important, sir? Nah.
Oh my God. Nah. Outdoor temperature is not important. Freezer temperature is not important. It's just freezing, okay?
In your test scenario 1 than what actually occurred on John O'Keefe's phone for the time period we just covered in January 29.
Yes.
And then with regard to even test scenario 2, where the temperature is 33.8 degrees, that's the ambient, the outdoor temperature, right? At that temperature, just above freezing, you've got a...
Sorry, it's below freezing.
I'm sorry?
It's below freezing.
What is freezing in Fahrenheit?
Don't know, but it's 0 degrees Celsius.
Right.
It was minus 5 degrees Celsius at the time.
Right, but would you agree that, and I want to be fair to you because I know you use Celsius more than Americans who use Fahrenheit, but would you agree that 2 degrees Fahrenheit is the freezing point in Fahrenheit?
I honestly wouldn't know.
Okay,
There
sorry.
it is.
So in any event, in your experiment at 33.8 degrees Fahrenheit, you're getting a drop in your experiment in 13 minutes of 30.6 degrees, right?
Correct.
That's a pretty big drop.
Yeah.
But much less drop in temperature on slide deck 60 of the actual iPhone of John O'Keefe on the morning of January 29th, correct?
Yes, correct.
Oh yeah, I would have let the roasting
Do you know
begin
what the temperature was in Canton on
right
January
away.
29th, 2022?
No.
Oh, I think this needs to be Clerk Jim. You just gave me an idea for a great YouTube name, a screen name. Oh, we've got an Ian Whiffin's freezer too. But I think yeah. And Ian Whiffin's freezer, welcome.
Maybe
So glad
Ian
to
Whiffin's
have you.
freezer can tell us the temperature of itself.
But I think this would be a great screen name: Bits, Bytes, and Fahrenheit.
Oh yeah, that's really, and it rolls off the so nice too.
Oh my god. Ian Whiffin's freezer says I wasn't having issues during the test. What were you set to? What what was your temperature? Oh my god. This is so sad too. I mean, if we didn't laugh sometimes, we would cry, but like a woman is on trial for her life in America. This is real life in modern day America. And we are having this in open court right now.
And they have unlimited resources, right? Like Brennan is being paid an astronomical amount of money. They're sparing no expense because they want this woman put behind bars so much. So this is what we're getting with that money. And I'd be pissed if I was taxpayer up there. This is crazy.
The unlimited resources point that you make, like, I just have to say, I'm very interested in seeing what's going on with Judd Welcher, because correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I have heard through the grapevine that he is former MSP. Like, wouldn't you want somebody as independent as you can possibly get, considering Proctor and everything, like all these little connections in this?
Now is Welcher the new expert that is replacing Trooper Paul?
Yes, he is Trooper Paul 2.0.
Yes,
he
so he
is part of Aperture, right?
I don't know about that, but I do know that he is Trooper Paul's boss. So yes, he is former or current. I don't know, but yes, MSP.
Yep, there you go. Oh, and his partner, Andrew Klain. Okay, got it. 4 of them total from Aperture. Okay, Andrew Klain
that's
is
a problem.
former MSP. Okay, thank you, Clerk Jim.
All of that is a problem.
All of it. Every last bit of it. Like, you need to get as independent as you can, Hank. And this witness here, Ian Whiffin, I think is the one guy who is not Massachusetts police or a McAlbert, and he
was police.
Yes,
even he was police.
Yes,
I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, they can't get away from him.
No, like, you cannot get an independent person with no dog in this fight who's actually an expert to say any of this.
Yeah, I can't.
Yes, Rhonda, free Karen Reed. Oh gosh. Like I said, I wasn't really planning on having this stream. This was put together last second. I normally have a link to Karen Reed's defense fund pinned at the top of the chat, guys. But please, consider going to the Pay It To website for Karen. I'm so sorry. That is one thing I did not do at the last minute. I literally walked in the door, changed my clothes, and sat down. But yeah, please guys, if you are as flabbergasted as we are at this case, please consider making a donation to Karen's Defense Fund.
Yeah, I think it's just KarenReed.net, and $5 goes a long way.
It does.
It really does.
It adds up.
Yep.
By the way, Loren, you and I need to do another standout soon.
Yes, before I have surgery on my foot, so we can do it on the
right.
beach.
You were telling me you had that coming up.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and press play here.
Don't you think that that would be an important piece of information in analyzing where the phone of John O'Keefe was on the morning of January 29th?
I didn't think it was.
So you didn't think it was important,
Crazy.
even though you issued a report discussing the temperature of the iPhone,
Like
and you did
Scooby-Doo
two
gang.
test scenarios.
The
one
mystery
in the
machine,
freezer,
they're all best
one
friends.
in an ambient temperature of slightly above 33 degrees, and you didn't think it important to take the final step to see whether there was anything to be gained from that comparison to determine where that phone was located?
My testing proved that the battery temperature is affected by ambient temperature. My report shows the data that was on the device. I also don't know the condition that the phone was found in, whether it was in a case, whether it was in a pocket. So to me, the ambient temperature in Canton at the time wasn't particularly relevant. I just wanted to show what data the device had recorded.
Sir, you could have asked. If you wanted to know the things, you could have asked.
My God. Not particularly relevant. Okay, that's where Officer O'Keefe's body allegedly was, sir. Sir. Let's all go back to kindergarten, sit crisscross applesauce, and use our noodles here.
He looks like he could sit crisscross applesauce like in his, everyday life. I feel like that would fit, Not that there's anything wrong with that, but. Oh, man. Yeah, it was a
The information
day.
that you create for your digital forensics analysis, including everything
This
that's in the
is only
slide
like
in your
5%
report,
of the day.
including battery.
What even was that?
What's that, sir?
I don't know.
I'll go back to the question.
There was somebody screaming the other day too. I don't know if you heard that.
Correct? And you work in law enforcement in investigating cases, do you not?
Yes.
And so oftentimes, the law enforcement is using your digital forensics information to help them solve cases, correct?
Correct.
You didn't suggest to anybody on law enforcement that they might want to take a look at this temperature information to assist in determining where this phone could have been by the temperature? You never raised that with them?
I did not.
And do you know whether any law enforcement person was aware that you had done all this temperature analysis?
It was in my report.
So you create a report as part of this case, and you deem the temperature important enough to do two test scenarios, important enough to put it in a slide presentation to this jury. Yet there's no discussion of that between you and any member of law enforcement as to what it means?
The details were provided in my report, and there was discussions, but it never came up as to say what was the temperature in Canton that night.
Oh, so there were discussions?
Not with law enforcement.
Oh, who
as part of my preparations.
Oh, was I muted? Go ahead and ask, Catherine. Knock yourself out. Questions are allowed. Comments are encouraged. Cursey words are... Yeah, cursey words are welcomed.
It's for trial.
Oh, tell me about who you discussed this temperature information with.
It was with Hank.
You're hesitating, and I can't hear. Who did you discuss
with
it
Hank?
Excuse me?
With Mr. Brennan.
Attorney Brennan?
Yes.
You discussed temperature with...
So, since they're on a first name basis, are they best buds? Are they best
I
friends?
wonder if I wonder if he kept every email or text message from him, because it was a big deal. Mark called.
Were you
Alan.
communicating on Signal?
Alan.
Man, that will go down in history as like being in my top 10 from the stand to the pulpit back and forths, like that whole interaction of Brennan saying to Dr. Wolf, well, you and I are working together. What would you call me? And Wolf just kind of smiles and thinks about what he'd like to call him. And I would call you Mr. Brennan.
Oh man, I would die to just know he was thinking some things.
Oh, if I could be a fly on that wall in his brain. But I mean, hey, he is a more patient man than I am.
Oh,
he
couldn't have done better.
Oh yeah.
He couldn't have done better. Like, it was just the definition of professional, class, and just so smart. He had those dimples, which really didn't hurt the situation either.
Not even a little.
I love me some crash daddies.
And then Bev, she knew they were coming. She was prepared. Her bangs
She did.
were point.
Her hair was less frizzy. I think she might have even brought out like the special tool on the hair dryer to get smooth. She was doing some work.
The eyelashes were on fleek.
She did. Yeah. She might have even curled them. I don't know.
Yep. And I heard from someone who was in the courtroom that day that she had strappy black leather heels on.
Oh, look
day.
at that. Okay,
Beverly.
Doing her
She got a case of the vapors.
Prosecutor Brennan.
It was in my report.
It was in your report, but you said you discussed. Which is it?
It's in my report, and the discussion was that it is in my report. I'm not in a position to suggest that investigations take place and change based on my report findings.
Oh, sir, I'm not suggesting what you just stated. I'm just trying to get information about, you mentioned the verb discussed. Didn't you, in your answer moments ago?
Yes.
Isn't discussed a verbal thing? It's not a written thing?
It was discussed in preparation for trial, yes.
Oh, so there was a discussion, a verbal discussion with Attorney Brennan about temperature in your preparation for trial?
Yes.
Was there any interest at all as to what this could actually mean for the potential location of Mr. O'Keefe's phone on these very important time periods in January 29th that might assist to determine at various times whether Mr. O'Keefe is in a covered building based upon the temperature rather than outside in a nor'easter on January 29th?
I'm sorry, what was the question there?
Dear God. Something that could find out the truth, that kind of thing.
I think this is the closest we've ever seen Dr. Let's just call him Dr. Dr. Bob Alessi to losing his shit.
I think even he was like, that exploded.
Oh, Loren, are you local to Massachusetts? Because I will be up there very soon.
I'm so jealous. You are gonna have such a blast.
It'll be interesting. It will be an adventure. I am to the point now where I think I can count down in minutes and not just days or weeks. I'm to the point where I can begin parceling it to the minute, like Dr. Wolf is expected to for his every phone call with all his clientele.
The question is, was there any discussion about the investigative value of what you had done in determining where that phone could have been on key time periods on the morning of January 29th?
That wasn't part of the discussion, no.
It wasn't part of the discussion. We went through, you may recall in my question.
Oh, okay, awesome. Is it set in stone, the plan? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're still kind of...
I love plans.
We are hatching a plan.
I love it. Good people, too.
Yes, a plan is being hatched. It's make sure you guys are keeping an eye on YouTube this Sunday, and that you keep an eye on who might be going live.
Ooh.
And when.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah, keep a very close eye.
Fantastic.
We don't have like we don't have anything concrete just yet, so I don't want to like announce it and then be wrong. So
In your report, where you stated that it was possible that the phone could be inside the house of 34 Fairview based upon that big white circle, you testified that the low accuracy at certain points could be because of it entering a covered building.
Loren, would you like a link? Would you like to come up now? If
Hey, two
My
Lorens and a Brit.
Oh, my rule. Oh, that was so good, Loren. I think you should have left it and not corrected yourself. I like my rule is set in stone better. We ain't losing it. It's here to stay. Loren, if you'd like to come up, if you'd like a link, please shoot me a private message on Twitter. Oh, okay. What she means is she's not wearing her bra anymore. She's done.
Girl. Yep.
I hear you. I hear you. Once it's off, it ain't going back on. I'm done.
Correct.
Me.
And you do a temperature experiment to track the very accurate temperature change of an iPhone, and it doesn't match up the actual data with either of your test scenarios, and you don't raise that with anybody. Okay.
Sustained. You can ask it differently.
Did you ever put together in any kind of form your test scenario 1, your test scenario 2, and the actual temperature chart of the iPhone of Mr. O'Keefe?
So how do you mean put it together? As in compare the two?
Exactly. Compare the two and reach any conclusions about location.
Don't apologize,
because
Loren.
you spent time, did you not, sir?
If you're
a lot of
hearing
time in your
about
reports
it means
on
it's
location of the
happening,
phone.
probably.
But yet, with all that data, all that testing, all the experiments that you did, you didn't include in your slide presentation and you didn't include in your report what that could mean for the location of the phone, did you, sir?
I'm struggling to see the comparison there.
Let me see if I can ask it in a different way. Nowhere.
You're struggling with a lot, Ian. Come on.
You know, Loren, you can relate to this because you live in a very touristy area like I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, Highway 98 is full of people who are here on vacation, right?
Yes,
And the
unfortunately.
the people who are here on vacation believe that even on the roads, they are our honored guests. And they can do as they please when they please. The laws of traffic do not apply to them. They paid a lot of money to come here on vacation, and their brains are going to be on vacation along with the rest of their body. So
why, you might ask? Because they're on beach time. And that's just how they see it.
That is. And they believe that everybody who lives in Florida permanently is also on this beach time of which we speak. So it is very easy for me now, and I'm generally a very easygoing person. But when I get behind the wheel now, I lose my patience. It's done been used up. Okay, I'm out of it. I've got places to be, and no, it is not legal for you to make a left turn there. And that's what I see when I watch Alessi right now. He's just like, why did this not occur to you? Why did this not occur to anybody in law enforcement? You are part of an investigation for a police officer, a fallen police officer who has been completely failed. And now you're telling me that he was not just failed by the Commonwealth, but he was also failed by you. You too.
Yeah.
We've got the solo cups. We've got the Stop and Shop bags. We've got, the leaf blower. We've got just thing after every single step has been a fumble. This ball has been fumbled from the 1 yard line. Hopefully never gets to the end zone, but all the way forward has been a freaking fumble. And I think Alessi is losing his patience.
Probably. This is the only guy they can find to get up there and say what they want to say, that it didn't happen. So it's like, I guess you get what you pay for, and you get the credibility of it. Just, can't make him any more credible than he is. And he sounds bad. I mean,
yeah. But yeah, I think Alessi's finally having the moment that you have had, I have had, everybody who has sifted through this case to a molecular level has had. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've shouted at my husband about how stupid everybody is who's investigating Karen Reed. Stupid, like intentionally blind, turning the cheek, incompetent, conflict of interest,
all of it,
misconduct, or corrupt. Like it's some level of all of it. There is not a single person involved in the investigation of Karen Reed who has been competent and who has been above reproach.
Yep, absolutely. And so I get real pissed when people are like, Karen Reed did it. Well, sir, ma'am, if she did, we would never know, because your law enforcement didn't do an investigation to prove that she did. Not my problem, not the next free Karen Reed's person's problem, your law enforcement. So if you want to misplace that anger.
Yes. Like if you have a problem with this, then you can take it up with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, with the Canton PD, and the Massachusetts State Police.
Right.
And
but the people with common sense.
She deserves to walk. Even if she did it at this point, I would still,
100%. Even
if I thought she did it, I would still be saying free Karen Reed.
They can't prove it anyways, but like his I mean, they're not even close to proving it. So I just hope that the jury gets it. I have a good feeling about this one, and
Me too.
Knock on wood. So
I mean, we'll see. I don't know. Hank might have a secret weapon.
I don't think so. He's got nothing. Hank's got nothing except
I don't think it's Jen McCabe, but
no. I have so much to say about her. So much.
We'll get through this little back and forth between Whiffin and Alessi, and then we'll go to McCabe. Oh God, who do you think is gonna cross her?
Oh, it's Alan.
I thought it had to be, because only one person can make her stare lasers the way that she does. The way she did on that stand in 2024. Oh, Loren, I would say probably Twitter is the easiest, but if you can't get in touch with me, I think Brian has one or two lines to me too. So yeah, definitely get a hold of me. We shall be in touch. Oh, you don't? Well, you don't have it. Well, now what, Loren? Like, what are we gonna do? I can't just give my phone number on YouTube.
Give it to Brian, and then he can give it to
Good idea. I'm going to give Brian my phone number, Loren, and then I'm going to have Brian forward my phone number to you. That is the plan. A plan is hatched. All right.
In your slide presentation, did you have any discussion yesterday about how your test scenario? Did you bring up, by the way, in your slide presentation yesterday?
He was the line leader in the second grade.
Not the tests, no.
Right, so you didn't
Oh.
even raise
Which
yesterday
is,
in your
which is
presentation about where the phone might be
Hank was
located.
definitely the hall monitor.
Hank reminded the teacher that we had homework last night
So accurate.
and was beaten up by the chess club. Okay, like
daily.
and is still bitter about it.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right, Loren, I'm going to do it now before I forget, okay? Because I'm the type who, as soon as this stream is over, I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to forget. So, really quickly, let me message Brian. La-di-da-di. Please forward my number to.
I just want to say I expect a lot of pictures. Okay. I love pictures. And so I want some good pictures so I can.
Well, then
share
someone
the
needs
screen for you guys.
to. Then I need someone to follow me around and take pictures of me because I am so bad at getting pictures of myself. I for somebody who is great at taking pictures of her dogs, like you would think that I remember that I'm also present. But yes, you know what? That does it. Next time I go up to Massachusetts, Loren, you have no choice. I'm putting you in my carry-on and I'm taking you with me.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure we'd have to get like, a sizable one, but I'm sure I can,
We'll get you in. We're gonna make it work.
Deal.
You didn't even raise the experiments that you did, correct?
Sustained as to the terminology. Ask it differently.
Did you yesterday in your presentation to the jury in any way discuss your battery test scenario 1 and 2 in your March 2025 report?
I believe there was mention of testing, but not to the amount of detail to say what the testing was.
Right. So there was no detail given at all
No
about
detail.
it. You just mentioned that it occurred, but no detail in your discussion
Correct.
at all. And are you aware, with regard to the battery temperature, that battery temperature in investigations can be used to determine locations of phones at certain times? Are you aware of that?
No.
So you have never used?
Hello, my friend.
Hello.
We're glad you came to join us. We are laughing at Ian Whiffin right now. Oh boy. This was so pathetic. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Not only did he impeach himself, but he impeached witnesses who haven't even testified yet.
He really did it. He goes out, he goes all out.
Yeah. But we're glad you're here, Jason. Yeah, no, he did not look good on the stand today. I can't say he looked great on the stand yesterday either, but
No.
he today put yesterday to shame. That's
Yes.
for sure.
Battery temperature information in all your years in any way for any investigation of a case in determining location of a phone?
Again, I don't see how you can determine location of a device from a temperature reading, other than to say whether it was inside or outside.
So battery temperature and the chart that you gave that is up there, in your opinion, has no relevancy to the topic of where a phone might be to investigators in a case? Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying, Mr. Whiffin?
I'm saying I can't take a temperature reading and make a determination about a
You
GPS
can't
location
just let it go.
based on the temperature reading.
That's not my question, though,
Okay.
sir, and I appreciate your answer, though. My question is, you work with law enforcement investigators regularly,
Yes.
correct? Isn't this information of potential relevance based upon your experience with investigations? Isn't this information at least potentially relevant in investigations?
I believe it could be. That's why I included it in my report.
Thank you. But you didn't include a discussion of it in your testimony yesterday, correct?
Correct.
Yes, Jason. I've been calling him the Lessinator since the beginning of trial. And this is it. This is an lessination that we are witnessing. I mean, yeah, 100% making changes. How do you go back to the office after this testimony? How do you sell our text? after this
I don't
testimony.
know how he has a job, to be honest.
He made Celebrate look bad.
He did. He really did.
I mean, they even said that they didn't condone everything that he testified to in the last trial, right?
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know that I ever heard anything either way.
Think of this, though. Everything he said, both last year and this year, Celebrate probably has contracts with, I don't know, military, law enforcement agencies. These are services that you pay to download, and there's probably like a monthly service fee with. So it would not shock me if Celebrate has contracts with a lot of these institutions. And if this case, turns every eye to Celebrate and says, oh, well, how dependable are you? And do we need to reevaluate prior convictions now based upon Celebrate extractions?
Correct. It's a very slippery slope. And it is a shame that the prosecution is willing to go down that slippery slope just to save their asses. And that's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and all this to put one innocent lady in jail. This is how far they'll go.
I just want to be clear on a final point as regards temperature. Were you aware of the temperature in Canton on January 29th, 2022?
I know it was a blizzard, but I don't know what the temperature was.
May I have a moment to switch?
Sure.
Copies? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Whiffin. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move us to the one,
I'm
the
ready.
only Miss Jennifer. Here she comes to wreck your day. Sworn in, ironically, at 2:27 today. Here we go.
Very fitting. Okay, so first
That you pull the microphone closer.
First,
I just want to point out the contrast between her look from the last trial to this trial is,
oh yeah,
we know she has Reddington, who is a very, very excellent attorney. So I think they, either he did it with his knowledge of all the law and all of that, or it would not shock me if they brought in a jury consultant, because this case, they are pulling like all the stops to get her convicted, because just down to, I feel like they are basing her look off of Allie's look from last time, because I think Allie was
the shirt, everything.
Fairly relatable, witness. She cried. She's the only one that showed emotion. So the shirt, everything. Now also she had the stark dark hair. They have softened the look with some highlights, right?
Yeah.
So everything is literally for a reason. And she has been prepped to hell and back. Everything. I'll point out, if it's fine, like I'll point out certain things. I'm big on body language. And you cannot fake body language. So when I'm watching her, she's trying hard, and I will give it, whoever they brought in did a decent job. Now, I don't think that's pulled up on cross, but if you don't mind, I'll point out little things here and there.
So I'm just imagining right now Kevin Reddington saying to her, Jen, my official legal advice to you. Your testimony's Wednesday. Monday, you're getting a spray tan, honey. That is my legal advice.
Because I saw stuff from her recently and she didn't have highlights. It was the same color it's always been. So, like, and they don't look good on her. So, I don't think she likes them. So,
she got her brows done too.
And whitened her teeth. Like, she was like, you know what? If I can't get this tooth fixed, I am just going to whiten the shit of it and it'll look better. So, I noticed that. She's very white teeth now. So,
oh boy. Well, it's kind of like you said, there are some things that can't be faked. When she was asked to identify the defendant, whoo.
Yeah.
She's
and yes, and the Jan for the first time that she said it.
Can you believe she did that again?
No. I think she slipped up. I think she slipped up because if you notice the next time, it was much more calm and reserved. I just think that came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also have thoughts on her little snarky comment to Brennan. I have thoughts. I think that's completely was staged to look better when she does that to Alan, because I think they both know it's gonna happen.
That just is who she is.
Yes.
How much goodness. Oh, I didn't know you went on vacation, Loren. That's awesome. I hope you had a great time.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, I'm Jennifer McCabe, MCCABE.
Ms. McCabe, how old are you?
I'm 49 years old.
Are you married?
Yes, I am married with 4 daughters.
Without detailing your children's names, can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Sure. I have 4 daughters that are 16, 17, 19, and 21. 2 are in high school and 2 are in college.
In raising your children, was your family active in local sports?
Yes, all 4 of my daughters played multiple sports from when they were young. 2 now are playing in college. My husband and I both coached them. My husband coached them from when they were young up through 8th grade in soccer, and I coached them in basketball.
Without telling me your address, what town are you from?
I'm from Canton.
How long have you lived in Canton with your family for?
I was born and raised in Canton, and now I'm raising my family there.
So your family, their whole life, you've raised them in Canton?
1 year we lived in Stoughton.
She is so high strung. Like, she looks like she's about to have a fucking stroke.
Yep. And she got Botox.
Oh man.
And I have a theory on that as well. Because you can't see a lot of the body language in the face when you get Botox, and she has gotten it in her forehead, under her eyes, around the chin area, all the key areas that you'd be able to tell different emotions.
I am from Canton. My 4 daughters were all.
That's why she has to lick her lips so much, because her face can't move for it to.
Oh my god!
Oh,
this is drying me out. Oh man, she just looks so uncomfortable
with my daughter.
Yeah.
Who do you live with now?
I live with my husband and my 4 daughters.
Can you briefly give me a little bit more background on your children's school and your participation in that?
Good night,
interaction with the children, raising them?
Sleep tight.
Yeah, so I was a teacher, and then once I had children,
Oh, by the way, will you pick me up from the airport again? Like, I might as well just ask you now. Okay.
Hey.
Thank you. See you Saturday. Oh man.
Stayed at home with them, and basically was just kind of like your typical, I don't know, small town mom. I was the room parent. I coached them.
I'll allow it. When we
Yes.
When I coached, I drove the kids back and forth on my team, would take them places, etc.
In the growth of your family and raising your children, did you meet a gentleman by the name of John O'Keefe?
Yes.
Share with us meeting John O'Keefe.
Sure. When my third daughter was in kindergarten, she became friends with John's niece. And during that kindergarten school year, unfortunately, Kaylee's mother and father both passed away, and John moved in the house.
Oh, and you know what I just thought about? Don't ask me how I know this, but Canton area just had their spring break for K through 12. It was very late this year.
Okay.
So maybe she went out of town for a little bit and got some sun.
Oh,
'Cause-
yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she's 3 shades darker. She's about to have to make a change to her birth certificate.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And became
She
Mr.
might
Long.
be a different nationality
When
now.
John took over guardianship of the children, did you assist in an active role in helping him?
Yes. Kaylee and my daughter were very close. So she would come over and play. My daughter would go over there. Kaylee would come and have sleepovers. A lot of times it would be on Friday nights. I would have Kaylee, and then another individual would have Patrick.
Had you known John O'Keefe well before he took over guardianship of the children?
No.
During the time when he was the guardian of the children, did your relationship, not just with his niece and nephew, but with him grow any closer?
Yeah,
Yes, we became very good friends.
How close of friends did you become over the years?
Well, throughout the years, obviously, when they were younger, we talked more, just about the logistics of CCD, pickup, drop off, basketball, sports. But then he would also call me, about, as the girls got older, the girl drama or, the hormones and things like that. He would also come over, and hang out and have a beer and, just talk about whatever was new in his life or going on, or, just the day in and day out struggles of his, life and raising the kids now and figuring it all out with, work and family and all that.
Leading into January 28th of 2022, so the jury understands, how close is your friendship with John O'Keefe at that time?
He was a very good friend of mine that I knew I could call for anything.
I want you to take us forward to January 28th, 2022. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember it well?
Yes.
Take us to the early morning hours, January 28th, 2022. Did you learn there may be weather or a storm coming?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
We all saw the report that there was going to be a big storm, a nor'easter. So we all knew that basically all the Saturday activities were going to be canceled.
That includes sports?
Yes.
Was and is the sporting events of the children a big part of your life?
Yes. Back then I had, 2 in high school that played 3 sports, and they played club sports as well. And then the 2 middle school played club sports and town sports. So most of our weekends were taken up by kind of running from one sporting event to the next.
That's
when you learned about the weather and the changing schedule, did it change your plans for that day?
No, not particularly. I had a pretty...
That's her being nervous. She's got redness in the neck and chest. So that's common if someone has anxiety.
And she should.
Mhm. It is understood. She's a little nervous. She had to get a whole makeover for this.
Yeah.
My day was set out. I had my niece, and then I had sporting events. It was kind of my plans for the next day that obviously got changed.
Take us through the afternoon of the 28th. What's happening?
Well, I had my niece for the weekend. She was picked up. My oldest was on the hockey team, and she was having a team dinner at the house. So I picked up pizza, got desserts, set it up for them. And then I left with my daughters and my husband, Matt, and we met some of the parents from the high school basketball team at a local pub to grab a bite and a drink before the basketball game, because my other daughter played on the high school girls basketball team.
What time was the basketball game set for that night?
I believe it was 6 or 6:30.
Did you and your family go to the game?
Yes, we did.
After the game, what happened?
After the game, I drove my daughter home. My sister, Nicole, sent me a text and said that she was going to be at the waterfall, and it was my nephew's birthday. He was going to meet up, and did I want to come by for a drink?
What is your nephew's name?
Brian Jr.
It was his birthday that night?
Yes, it was.
When you received a call to meet with friends and family at the waterfall, do you remember what time that plan made?
I don't. My sister sent me a text at some point letting me know she was going to be there, so I don't know what time.
After the game and after some time, did you go to the waterfall to meet your friends and family?
Yes, I did.
Describe very briefly, what's the waterfall?
It's just a local town bar.
Do you remember about what time you got to the waterfall?
About 9 o'clock.
When you got there, was there anybody there that you knew?
Yes.
Okay, now take us inside the waterfall. When you get there, who do you see?
I walk in and I see Julie and Chris Albert, my niece Caitlin, my sister Nicole, and my niece's boyfriend Tristan.
You said you saw Julie and Nicole Albert in the waterfall?
Yes.
Were you related to either of them?
Nicole is my sister.
So Brian Sr. would be your brother-in-law?
Yes.
Also, you mentioned there was a niece?
Yes, Caitlin.
Is that Brian and Nicole's daughter?
Yes.
You mentioned the name Tristan. What's his relationship to Brian Albert's niece?
He's now her fiance.
Was there anybody else I missed?
That's all who was there. I'm not sure if Nick Kolokitis was already in there when I got there, or if he arrived right after, and then his wife joined us.
I hope the
So when you're invited to
Kolokitis
see your
come
friends,
back.
what do you do next?
I immediately
they're
just,
fire.
join them and sit down.
Were you eating, drinking?
I know I ordered a beer. They had appetizers on the table. I'm not sure whether I had any or not.
Were you drinking alcohol that night?
Yes.
As you're spending time with your family, did the night grow?
Yes.
Did you stay at the table where everybody was eating, or did you move inside the bar?
We were pretty much right around the table.
Did anybody you knew join you or join the group at some point?
Yes, a little while later, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins joined us at the waterfall.
So when you first got there, was Brian Albert already there?
No, he wasn't.
Is that your brother-in-law, Brian Albert?
Yes.
And you said Mr. Higgins. Did you know Mr. Higgins?
I had met him a few times when he was out with Brian.
You had met him a few times before that night?
Yes.
Were you friendly with him?
He was a friend of Brian's.
Was he your friend?
No, he was Brian's friend.
You knew who he was?
Yes.
So when Mr. Albert and Mr. Higgins joined the group later, did they come directly to you, or did they stay somewhere else inside the bar?
No, they came over to our table, I believe.
How long were you in the waterfall for that night?
Approximately 9 to little around midnight-ish.
About 3 hours?
Yes.
Do you have an estimate of how many drinks you had, alcoholic drinks you might have had?
I don't. I don't know. Maybe 2, 3.
Throughout the night, were you feeling any effects of the alcohol?
Not that I recall, no.
When the group was together, you mentioned a number of people have joined. Were you joined by other people later?
Yes.
Who were you joined by later?
John O'Keefe.
I've just got to ask, why was that added in there? Were you feeling any of effects of the alcohol? I mean, I'm sorry. Of course she did.
Because I think defense is gonna say like everyone was drinking to kind of like be fair, and we're gonna try to say that Jen didn't have hardly anything and blah blah blah. She has like the best recollection because she wasn't as intoxicated as everyone else is what I think.
Yeah, and she was driving.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Since you've stopped it. So I took some notes. Okay. So if you notice here in this clip, she says, yeah, he was there. Yeah, I don't think he was there yet, or something like that. Like, and she's talking past tense. Okay. Well, as the story progresses, she starts talking in present tense, which is not normal for something that happened years ago.
Yeah. We go to the house, we walk in the door. Yeah.
I do this, I do that. That's not normal. So the only reason that is happening is because she has been coached, and they've done it over and over and over. And I think whoever is telling her to relive this is, and they're not realizing it's coming off like this, but that's not normal for any kind of, someone reliving the thing. That's not. Oh, good night, Rhonda.
Right. Good night, Rhonda.
So yeah, the statement analysis is huge.
Mm-hmm. And you're right, especially with her changing from past tense to present, because there are some people who that's just how they talk. But that's not how she talks. She establishes a baseline and then she changes it.
Yep.
Keith and Karen.
And even here.
And you talked about your relationship.
Sorry, you can tell the parts that she has been rehearsed and told what to say, because it'll switch and you'll see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all be on the watch.
Yes, earlier, yes.
You make plans with him, or did he just show up?
I believe he had started the conversation about the night with Chris Albert.
Chris Albert is a different Albert than Brian Albert?
Yes.
How was the relationship between them?
Brian Albert and Chris Albert are brothers.
Was Chris Albert there when Mr. Higgins and Brian Albert arrived?
Yes. Actually, Chris, did I miss him? Because Chris was there with Julie. Did I? I'm not sure if I said that when I was naming everyone at the table. I apologize.
You may have.
Okay.
So when you first got there, he was at the table with your sister?
Yes, he was.
When moments before John O'Keefe arrived with the defendant, what was the mood in the group?
Cheerful. Good mood. Everybody was just out having a drink. We all knew the storm was coming tomorrow, and just a typical average night.
Celebratory?
Yeah.
You said you were going to see Brian Albert Jr. for his birthday. Was Brian Albert Jr. at the waterfall when you got there?
No, he was not.
Was Brian Albert Jr. there anytime when you were at the waterfall?
No, he was not.
Without relating a conversation with some other person, did you have an understanding where Brian Albert Jr. was?
He was at home.
Did you historically or typically see Brian Albert Jr., your nephew, on his birthday?
Yeah, typically we always, get together. We try.
John O'Keefe arrived at the waterfall.
She's a PI.
With the defendant. Do you have a general estimate or guess? Not guess, but a general
she's a
estimate.
good
of
one.
I've taken some courses. I
Approximately
know
11.
I'm an expert, but I'm kind of like I took some courses like Whiffin did.
Yeah, like
So I don't know a lot, but I know enough to point some stuff out, and it really fascinates me. So it's good in my line of work to know.
I went to school to be a teacher, so I had to take some of the same types of, I had to take abnormal psychology, I had to take human growth and development, I had to take a lot of psych courses. I hope she does this again this go around, but last time she testified, what really stuck out to me was her continuously turning to the jury and speaking right to them, like making eye contact with them when she was being crossed. Every time something she said was brought into the spotlight and she was asked about it, she would turn to them and make her explanation. It was
kind of like, who? Amber. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
She would do the same thing. So yeah, I can't wait to see cross.
It ain't right.
No, and I got some more goodies. So everybody stay put because I got some more goodies that I've noticed.
Nobody go to bed yet.
When they first arrived, did you see them?
Yes.
Where was them coming from?
I saw them walk in.
When they walked in, did you react in any way?
Yes, I was happy to see them.
Why were you happy to see them?
Because I love John and I loved Karen.
So you were happy to see John?
Yes, very.
You were happy to see the defendant?
Yes.
Do you remember your first interaction with either John or the defendant that night inside the waterfall?
I believe John walked over to where I was, kind of to my end of the table, and then maybe Karen had walked to the other end of the table. But I would assume I probably hugged both of them when I saw them.
I'm going to ask you not to assume if you don't know. That's okay.
Miss Jessica's here. Hey, welcome in. Jennifer got on the stand today. You picked a hell of a day to miss some stuff, Jess, but we're glad you're here with us. So Jen did her direct, or at least part of her direct today. So that's what we're watching here, but we're glad you could join.
You said that you had known the defendant as well.
Yes.
Do you remember how long she'd been dating John O'Keefe up until that point?
I know I met her in July of 2020.
Had you had a chance to spend time or interact with her over that time before that night at the waterfall?
Yes, I had.
And share with us some of the moments or some of the reasons that you would interact.
The first time I met Karen, John had reached out. We would do pool days with him and his niece and his nephew. So he had told me he was dating a new girl and he wanted to bring her over. He said that she had multiple sclerosis. I also have multiple sclerosis. So he thought that would be something we could, we would talk and bond over. I said, yeah, great, bring her over. So her and John and Kaylee and Patrick came over. We had a pool day. I liked Miss Reed immediately. I thought we hit it off. It was really great talking to someone my age that also had MS, because I didn't really know a lot of people who have it. So it was really nice to have somebody to relate to. Then moving forward, we would see them, if it was my daughter's birthday party, when it was time for pickup, they would come in, have a couple drinks. Same thing for like a Halloween party, after basketball games.
So you spent time both with John and Miss Reed?
Yes.
Did you spend time with the defendant separately without John around?
No.
Did you become friendly with her?
Yes.
And were you friendly that night?
Yes.
After John and the defendant entered the bar and you agreed, did you interact or spend time with Miss Reed at the waterfall?
Yes, I did.
And speaking of the defendant, do you recognize her here in the courtroom?
Yes, I did.
Can you kindly point to her and describe an article of clothing she's wearing?
She's sitting right over there with a black shirt or blue.
Is she between Attorney Jackson and Attorney Yannetti?
Yes, she is.
Did you hear her tone of voice change too? I'm going to wind that back just a hair. Just a hair. Y'all listen to her voice. It's like a shadow just was cast over her.
It was really nice to have somebody to relate to. Then moving forward, we would see them, if it was my daughter's birthday party, when it was time for pickup, they would come in, have a couple drinks. Same thing for like a Halloween party, after basketball games.
So you spent time both with John and Miss Reed?
Yes.
Did you spend time with the defendant separately without John around?
No.
Did you become friendly with her?
Yes.
And were you friendly that night?
Yes.
After John and the defendant entered the bar and you agreed, Did you interact or spend time with Miss Reed at the waterfall?
Yes, I did.
And speaking of the defendant, do you recognize her here in the courtroom?
Yes, I do.
Could you kindly point to her and describe an
Yes,
article
I
of clothing
do.
she's wearing?
She's sitting right over there with that black shirt or blue.
Is she between Attorney Jackson and Attorney Unetti?
Yes, she is.
When you were at the waterfall that night, do you remember who you were speaking to or where you were spending your time?
As to earlier in the night or after?
I'm sorry, after Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant arrived.
Yes, Miss Reed came over and spoke to me because I had seen her the Saturday before, and she had told me how she had started a new medication, and it was giving her some awful side effects. And I said, I'm shocked they put you on that, etc.
Let me not ask you about conversations you had, but about the moment that you were in. Did you spend time with Miss Reed that night?
Yes, I did.
Inevitably, did you drink more alcohol as the night went on?
I believe I had, like I said earlier, a couple of drinks, 2, 3, not sure.
Did you ever have a shot of alcohol?
I do not believe I had the shot, no.
Did you see the party, the group of friends and family doing the shot?
I was in the bathroom and walked out, and they were doing
The shot.
Mhm.
Hank said, "Did you have a shot of alcohol?" And she said, "I don't think I had the shot."
Oh,
doing or had just done a shot.
With the court's permission, I'd like to display parts of Exhibit 22, which has already been introduced into evidence, which is video surveillance footage from the waterfall.
Okay.
I'd like to start at 10:54:20,
Oh, wait
please.
a second. Whose voice was that who said no objection?
Alan.
Okay, so he is gonna cross. Usually, guys, whoever's objecting is the one who's gonna cross. Sorry, y'all. I have not seen all of Jen McCabe's testimony. I saw like the first 2 minutes, and that was it. I'm going in blind.
If you could just stop for 1 second. Do you recognize what's in that video?
Yes.
And what is that?
That is the waterfall.
Okay, kindly proceed. If you could stop. Do you see the two people entering from the left?
I do.
Do you know who they are?
I believe that is Miss Reed and John O'Keefe.
Ms. Gilman, is there any way to enlarge the top of the video where the other people are closer to the table or bar? No. Okay. Looking at this video, can you tell or identify anybody under that timestamp? And if you can't, that's okay. But if you can you tell us who you see?
I think the guy right there, well, where she just is Brian Higgins.
Okay. If you could go up a little bit, Ms. Gilman.
I believe that's my husband, Matt, and then on the right, and I think that's me on the left.
Okay. And if you can go down the table to the left, Ms. Gilman, you recognize who that might be from the clothing?
I'd have to take a guess. That
Don't guess. Okay, if you don't. Anybody else at the table more to the left, do you recognize?
Not from this picture.
Ms. Gilman, could you highlight where Ms. McCabe thinks that she is on that video with that circle you just had and play the video?
And this is why we need microdots.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm gonna pull my chair forward.
You could stop. Is that you clapping, Ms. McCabe?
Yes, it is.
Why are you clapping?
Because I was happy to see them.
Both of them?
Yes.
Okay. Could you continue, please?
Good night, Loren. Thanks for hanging with us.
That is John
Good
O'Keefe.
night.
Can you continue, please, Ms. Gilman?
Oh, my back hurts. There we go. I need a better
Are you interacting with anybody?
I can't see where I am.
Okay. If you could stop the video, please. Could you move ahead to 11:26:50, please? 11:26:50. Is that your group still at the waterfall?
Yes, it is.
If you could stop there, Ms. Gilman. If we could hone in or circle where you were previously. You're in that area?
I believe I am, yes.
Could you put the circle down just a little bit, Ms. Gilman? Okay. If you could play from 11:26:50 to 11:27, please. We're a little bit ahead right now. Who are you hugging there?
I believe that's Miss Reed.
Thank you. One more, Ms. Gilman. I'm going to ask you to move forward to 11:46.
Ooh, that spot is still in my eyes. I can. Miss Gilman's doing optical illusions on us.
She is tripping us out.
Fans tearing down.
Could you pause, Ms. Bellman? Could you circle in that same area where Ms. McCabe was last describing? Can you make anything out in this video?
Yes, it looks like they're all, toasting or doing a cheer before they do a shot.
Can you see whether or not the defendant's in that part of the video?
Yes, it looks like she is in front of the man in the plaid coat.
Were you participating with the drinking at this moment?
I don't see myself in the video. I don't believe I was.
But you were drinking separately that night, weren't you?
Yes, I was drinking beer.
You can continue, please. Thank you. Shortly after the shot, was there a conversation about leaving the waterfall as a group?
Yes, there was.
Was there any discussion about where the group should go?
At first, Miss Reed was asking if we could go up the street to D&E.
What's D&E?
D&E is a sub shop that's owned by Chris Albert.
Was it open that late at night?
No, it wasn't.
Had you in the past gone to that pizza shop after hours to eat?
Yes, we had.
And tell us what the defendant was saying?
She just kept asking, can we go up to D&E? Can we go up to D&E? She wanted just to go up and, Chris makes food and then we were going to go she wanted us all just to go up there and eat and hang out.
So
that wasn't an uncommon
she's on a
occurrence for the
strict
group to sometimes
diet
go
due
to
to
that
her
pizza shop
medical
after hours, wasn't it?
conditions.
And so
But
Karen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like Karen, like you mean to tell me Karen is begging for you to go up there and cook pizza?
McCabe changed her testimony from making pizzas to eating.
Yep.
Yep. We're going to have to do probably like a side by side of last testimony versus this testimony with her.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
Did the group decide to go to the pizza shop?
They decided they weren't going to go.
Was there a different plan made?
Before Brian Albert left, he said to the group, hey, we're going to go back home and have a beer with Brian Jr. If anyone wants to come by.
When you received the invitation to the group to go back to Brian Albert's house, did you decide whether you're going to go home or go back to your sister's house?
Yes, I decided I was going to go to my sister's house.
Without saying what was said, was there any discussion in the group among the participants about going back to your sister and Brian Albert's house?
Everybody seemed to want to go back.
Did anybody object to going back?
No.
Had you been to your sister's house before?
Yes.
Many times?
Yes.
Do you know the address of where your sister lived?
Yes.
And so after that conversation, did you stay at the waterfall for a little bit or did you leave immediately?
Probably left after maybe 5-10 minutes.
Without saying what was said, before you left, did you have a chance to speak to John O'Keefe?
I did, yes.
You spoke to him inside the waterfall?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to speak to the defendant?
Yes.
And was your plan to go back to your sister's house?
Yes.
Before you left, did you have any understanding whether or not Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant were going to join you?
Yes. Hold on. Did you have another understanding regarding that?
Yes.
And what was your understanding?
They were coming.
Who else was going to go back to your nephew and your sister's house?
Brian Higgins and my niece, Caitlin.
A little after 12, did you leave the waterfall?
Yes.
Do you remember that night leaving?
Yes.
Before you left, did you talk to anybody in particular?
Yes. Miss Reed and then Mr. O'Keefe.
Did you speak to them inside the waterfall?
I walked out with Miss Reed and we spoke at the doorway and then John joined us.
Did you invite Miss Reed to come with you?
I did, yes.
Did she decline?
Yes.
And who did you go to your sister's house with? Who drove?
I drove and I went with my husband, Matt.
Anybody else?
No.
Do you remember what time it was that you were speaking to Miss Reed about going to your sister's house?
After midnight.
If I could have Exhibit 22 again, Ms. Gilman, if you could take us to 12:10:36. Okay, if you could stop it there, please. Did you have a chance to talk to Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant outside of the waterfall?
Yes.
And do you know specifically what time you left the waterfall?
It was after midnight.
When you left the waterfall with your husband, you said you were driving. Did you stop anywhere along the way before you got to your sister's house?
No.
Tell us what you see when you get to your sister's house. What are the weather conditions like as you're driving there?
It's starting to snow to the point where it's starting to accumulate. It's on your car. It's just, getting on the street.
Is it light? Is it heavy?
It's light at this point.
How long does it take?
So
to get
I
from
think this is where the
to your sister's
shift
house?
happens.
5 to 8 minutes, depending on lights and weather.
Okay, good. Because everything I'm seeing right now, I'm watching blind. I haven't seen it.
Okay, yeah. I think this is where
When
the
you first
tap in the language.
get to your sister's house while you're still in the car, describe what you see.
My wipers are on. I'm just looking out the window and it's snowing. It's dark.
Anybody in the driveway? Any cars in the driveway that you see?
Oh, when I pull up to my sister's?
Yes.
As I pull down the street, I take a left into the driveway and there is a Jeep that's parked on the street.
There's
and
that present tense.
there's maybe a couple cars in my sister's driveway.
What do you do when you arrive at your sister's house?
Oh,
I go in the house.
Now, there are a couple doors at your sister's house.
She ate both her lips after saying that.
Which one? Go back on it.
Okay. She stuck both her lips after she started talking about that Jeep.
Oh, let me see.
Which, oh, by the way, I don't think the Jeep ever was there.
No,
I think
it
Higgins rode with somebody else and then borrowed the Ford
Jeep.
Edge. But that's, don't quote me on that. I don't have any receipts. I'm just
no, I believe the Jeep wasn't there.
okay. Yeah, that's my belief based off of what has been presented to me.
To your sister's house while you're still in the car, describe what you see.
My wipers are on. I'm just looking out the window and it's snowing. It's dark.
Anybody in the driveway? Any cars in the driveway that you see?
Oh, when I pull up to my sister's?
Yes.
As I pull down the street, I take a left into the driveway and there is a Jeep that's parked on the street and there's maybe a couple cars in my sister's driveway.
What do you do when you arrive at your sister's house?
I go in the house.
Now, there are a couple doors at your sister's house.
Yes.
Is there a front door?
Yes.
Is there a side door?
Yes.
Which one's closer to the driveway?
The side door.
Which door do you go in when you get to your sister's house?
The front door.
Was anybody with you when you went in?
My husband, Matt.
You walked in together?
Yes.
Tell us the first
How
person you remember
fast this
meeting.
is going.
When I went in the house?
Yes.
It's been
Probably
practiced over
my
and
niece
over.
was at the table. I saw my nephew, Brian.
Was there anybody else you saw at the table?
Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson.
So when you walk in the front door of the house,
Remember, she was there all day Saturday.
Yep.
is it what table? Is this a living room table, a kitchen table?
Oh, you walk in and then you go to the right and it's into the kitchen and there's a table there.
Is the kitchen separate from the living room or is it open?
It's open, but they're separate.
Can you see the kitchen table when you walk in the door if you turn and look right?
Yes.
And when you go into the kitchen, you said there was a woman by the name of Julie Nagel
Yes.
and then another woman, Sarah?
Yes.
You know her last name?
Levinson.
Okay. Julie Nagel, did you know her when you walked in the house that night?
I had met her a few times.
Had you spent time with her? Were you friends with her?
No, I just had met her a few times and she had watched my dog for me when my nephew couldn't.
This is what having your hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel looks like on the witness stand.
Yes.
She's got. Yes. No. My husband, Matt, was with me.
Yep.
Wow.
And she's trying really hard to like not shift too much, not do crazy looks because she knows that
Yep.
has been picked apart.
Don't elaborate. Show no emotion.
When you would go away, would your nephew be responsible to watch your dog?
Yes.
Did you understand that Julie Nagel had watched your dog a couple of times?
Yes.
Had you ever socialized with her before that night?
No, I may have seen her at a graduation party, but never beyond that.
Were you friends with her at that point?
No.
Friendly enough that she watched your dogs?
Yes, through my nephew. He just said my friend's going to do it, and I trusted his judgment.
And there was another woman by the name of Sarah. Did you know her before you saw her that night?
I knew of her. If I would to see her, I'd say hi, but that's the extent of it.
How did you know of her?
Just from being in the town, going to different sporting activities and just being around.
That's a
You said
lie.
your nephew Brian was there as well in the kitchen?
Yes.
This was his birthday?
Yes.
How old was he?
She is lying about how well she knows Sarah Levinson.
Yep.
She just stuck her lips in her mouth again.
Mm-hmm.
She ate them and gnawed on them that time.
How did you know of her?
I mean, that's
Just from being in the town, going to
thing.
different sporting activities and
Yep.
You
That's
can
one of her tells.
yeah, you can practice and have someone grill you and focus on certain things on body language, but you can't fake body language because there are certain tells that you do without thinking about. Those will
Mhm.
always come out. So that's why I think like she thought okay, I'm gonna do this. No, you can still tell, Jen.
Yep. Yep.
just being around.
You said your nephew Brian was there as well in the kitchen?
Yes.
This was his birthday?
Yes.
How old was he?
I think he was turning 23.
Was there anybody else in the house when you and your husband
Wait
first
a
got there?
goddamn
Yes, my
minute.
sister and Brian Al.
This is your nephew.
Mm-hmm. I think
know
that happened in the last
exactly-
trial.
Yeah. I know exactly how old every family member of mine is, like down to my distant, like third cousins. I might
Yeah,
forget
it's like
exactly when their birthday is, but I know how
poor
old they
Brian
are.
Jr. No one knows how old he is. They haven't since.
My God.
Albert and Brian Higgins.
So Mr. Higgins, Brian Albert, and your sister were there before you.
Yes.
Where was everybody when you first came in?
My niece Caitlin, Sarah Levinson, Julie Nagel, and Brian Jr. were all at the kitchen table. My sister was over, I think, cleaning the counters, and Brian were off in the TV room that you can see from the kitchen because there's a wide opening.
Oh, real quick, Loren. I just had this license plate made. It says Jen 227.
I love it. Heck yeah.
If you walk in the front door, would I look left or right to see the TV room?
You'd look right to the kitchen, and then through the kitchen's the TV room, but you could look and, when you walk in, you can see because it's open.
Is the TV room in any way have a relationship with that side door?
Yes, it does.
If you were to walk in the side door, would you be walking into the TV room?
Yes.
Charles knows
When you
how
saw
old Brian Jr.
your nephew
is.
Brian Jr. and his friends,
I'm sure he
his friends
appreciates
about
it
the same
since
age
his
as
own
him?
family
Were they
doesn't
drinking?
know.
Yes.
Was there music?
Yes.
And when you went in, did you spend time with the group?
Yes, I sat right down and started talking to them.
And when you were speaking to them, did you have any drinks that night?
I believe they brought me over a White Claw, but I didn't have more than a sip of it. I really wasn't. It was at that point where I just didn't want another drink.
As you were in the kitchen, were you expecting anybody else?
We had mentioned it to Karen and John, and I had actually just spoken to John, so I was expecting them.
So when you saw John O'Keefe in the waterfall, that wasn't the last time you spoke to him?
No.
You had spoken to him, was it on the ride to your nieces? I mean, to your sisters?
Yes.
Did you call him or did he call you?
He texted me and I believe asked something like where to. And since I was driving, I called.
When you called him, what did you tell him? What did you guys say?
I just said they live 34 Fairview Road off of Chapman.
Do you know if John O'Keefe had ever been to the Albert home before?
I don't believe he had.
In that conversation, how long did that conversation take?
It was quick.
Was there any other conversation that you had with him other than that one conversation?
Yes, he called me back and he was trying to find it.
Trying to find the address?
Try to find the house on Fairview.
Did he ask you for help trying to find the address?
I'm not sure his exact words, but yes, he needed help. And so I just said, I told him just go down the street, go by Bella's house. It's at the bottom of the street.
So you used Bella's house as a point of designation to try to guide him to get to your sister's house?
Yes.
Tell us who Bella was to John.
Bella is my daughter and John's niece friend. So Bella is friends with my daughter, John's niece.
Okay. And was there any relationship between Bella's mother and John that you knew of?
This is the one that Karen reportedly was suspicious of.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is
And then
Ashley, I think.
I think so. Yeah. And then the night before, I guess John said it to Jen, and that she probably heard it. It was probably on speaker. And then you'll hear it again later. It's like they kept throwing it in her face.
And then who is this girl in the purple next to Paul?
Ooh, girl. I think it's a cousin, but she reminds me of someone I know, and the faces that she makes are the same. So I have like PTSD when I look at her. Like,
she was laughing at some of this stuff.
Really?
Today. Like with Whiffin. I mean, it was crazy.
I don't know what she's laughing.
I should have clipped it. And look at her.
Oh, I know.
She
just
side
like
eye and the hair twist.
Oh, it's just like resting bitch face, side eye all day long, every day.
Mm-hmm. And then Terry's staring at Tara Kerrigan staring at her like you're in my seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was my boyfriend.
That second phone conversation
Yes,
you had
Catherine,
with John.
we did know.
Do you know about what time that was?
The irony is flattening me.
I don't. It would be after 12:15, but before 12:30, approximately between that.
Were you still driving when you had that conversation?
Yes.
And at the point you told us you arrived at your sister's home and went in.
Yes.
I'd like to move forward now to when you were inside the house. Tell us generally when you first got there and saw everybody, what were you doing?
I just sat down at the table. I started talking to them. We were listening to music. Typical night.
Okay. Anything stand out as far as music or interaction with the group?
No, we were just laughing, telling stories. At one point,
So her pitch went up right there.
I'm not sure if it was at some point. my other nephew had been over my house and had shown me this video on his phone, and it was a family inside joke. The video, it was a music video from a long time ago, and so I was telling my other niece and nephew, "Oh my gosh, you have to see this video. It's hysterical." And then we started playing it and watching it.
What was the video?
It's Raining Men.
Did that get a lot of playtime during that get together?
Well, I have one sister who sometimes has a little too much to drink, takes out an umbrella, and will dance. So it's a family joke.
While you were at your sister's house,
So
what area of the house
interesting
were you
point
spending
about
time in?
this.
Yeah, I was in the kitchen.
What was the mood of it?
On the extraction,
Yeah, Ian
it
Whiffin.
said that it said this Raining Men video happened 2 days prior.
Yeah,
She testified
when
it
it happened
night.
that day. She testified to it happening that day.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in
Yeah.
the house, as far as you remember?
Everybody was in a great.
So, bottom line, people, Ian Whiffin doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
He doesn't.
And if he does, then he's lying. If he
Mhm.
knows, then what he's saying ain't true.
Was there any fighting?
No.
Any arguing?
No.
Any violence?
No.
Was it a celebratory mood?
Yes.
As you were in the house, were you waiting for anybody else that you expected to come?
Yes, I was expecting John and Karen to come.
At some point when you're in the kitchen, let me ask you a little background. As you're in the kitchen of that house, can you see outside from the kitchen area?
They had blinds or something down, but if the blinds were up, you could see out.
Were the blinds up?
No.
At any point, were you able to see outside from inside the house?
From the front door, yes.
Does the front door, is it glass?
Yes.
At some point when you were with everybody in the celebration, did you have a chance to look outside?
Yes.
And when you looked outside, what did you see?
I saw a dark SUV out front.
Did you know whose SUV that was?
I believed it was Karen's.
Could you see who
Okay,
was in it?
so
No.
At
one
that point
second
of night,
here.
what does the weather look like?
So
Go for it, girl.
he's getting ready to ask her a question similar to why didn't you go out there, or did you go out there to the car when you saw by the flagpole? And her response is the snarky one that I'm talking about, and then his response back, all of that is planned. Guarantee if the betting woman, I would bet everything I own on that. Watch.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
And then, look, here we go again. Oh, I paused at a great point. Look at this.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, boy. But she's doing the mouth thing.
Yep.
I am a fan of my pause game today. That needs to be a game next time. If we go through Jen McCabe's cross, we've got to make whatever face that we freeze her on.
Okay.
Like, we have to try to make the exact same face.
Move, but I saw it in a few different locations.
How many times did you look out?
Can't give you an exact number of how many times I looked out. I can tell you I saw the vehicle first straight out from the front door. Then I saw it up at the flagpole, and then I saw it further up from the flagpole.
Were you studying the car at all?
So
No, it was quick glances.
Did you have any reason to study it?
No.
What were you?
sorry.
Yeah, no, go
Sorry.
ahead.
So I just want to explain to your audience that like when she said that, can't tell you how many times I did. So like that is a hot spot. So like it should be. Truthful people usually say, oh, I can't tell you. But if they're dropping that major letter in front of it, or the pronoun or whatever, that is a hot spot, and that is also a tie to a lie. So that whole sentence that she said, you have to question that.
Okay. I mean, I was questioning it anyway because it was flying out of Jen McCabe's mouth, but I really will now.
Expecting was going to happen.
I was expecting John and Karen to come into the house.
Did they ever make it in the house?
No, they did not.
As you were waiting, were you doing anything else in addition to waiting for them to come in?
Yeah, so I was sitting at the table. Someone made mention of a car out front, so I got up, went to the door, looked out, and then I would go back to the table, and where we were just all laughing, talking, playing music, just hanging out, not really thinking much about anything.
Did you ever reach out to John when you thought the car out front was the defendant's car with John in it? Did you ever reach out to him?
Yes, I did.
How did you reach out to him?
I texted him.
Do you know if there was a phone call that was made to you before 12:30? A 7-second phone call?
From John?
Yes.
I don't.
You mentioned you had spoken to him about directions. Is that the last time you heard his voice?
Yes.
When the car was out front, did you exchange text messages or were you simply texting him?
I was texting him.
Do you remember what you?
She lied about that being the last time she heard his voice.
Let's go back.
Up from the flagpole.
Were you studying the car at all?
No, it was quick glances.
Did you have any reason to study it?
No.
What were you expecting was going to happen?
I was expecting John and Karen to come into the house.
Did they ever make it in the house?
No, they did not.
As you were waiting, were you doing anything else in addition to waiting for them to come?
Yep. Yes. So I was sitting at the table. Someone made mention of a car out front. So I got up, went to the door, looked out, and then I would go back to the table and where we were just all laughing, talking, playing music, just hanging out, not really thinking much about anything.
Did you ever reach out to John when you thought the car out front was the defendant's car with John? Did you ever reach out to him?
Yes, I did.
How did you reach out to him?
I texted him.
Do you know if there was a phone call that was made to you before 12:30? A 7-second phone call?
From John?
Yes.
I don't.
You mentioned you had spoken to him about directions. Is that the last time you heard his voice?
Yes.
When the car was out front, did you exchange text messages or were you simply texting him?
I was texting him.
She did the mouth thing. She started gnawing on her lips after she said that was the last time that she heard John's voice.
See, and I guarantee she is trying so hard to not do that, but it is, you don't think about it. That's the thing with body language.
Yep.
Texting him?
The first time I said here.
What do you mean by here? Was that
like hair question mark? Because that's when I saw the car.
You were wondering whether that was him?
Yes.
Did you send any other text messages that you can remember?
After I saw the car move locations, when I saw it go up to the flagpole, I said, pull behind me.
And do you remember any other communications you had with him? Was he texting you anything?
No.
No, she didn't. Karen was gone by then.
Yep.
Just in case anyone was wondering.
Did he ever text you again that night?
He never texted me again.
Never called again?
No.
Did you continue to text him over the next 15, 20 minutes?
I did, yes.
And so at some point, did you realize that John O'Keefe and the defendant weren't coming in the house?
Yes, when the car was gone.
Did you ever go outside through the storm down to the flagpole to speak to them?
No.
Why not?
Why would I?
I was just asking.
I had no reason to.
So when you were in the house, at some point, did you notice that the car was gone?
Yes.
Were you marking the time or keeping track of it?
No.
Oh, that's
After
all
you
planned.
didn't see the defendant's car anymore, did you stay?
Yes.
How long do you think you stayed for at the house?
I stayed till about around 1:30, 1:45-ish.
Did anybody else come in the house up until 1:45?
No.
Did people leave at certain times?
Yes, people did leave.
Who was the first to leave?
Brian Higgins.
Do you remember about what time he left?
I don't.
The cross was added on purpose too.
Oh, yeah. I think it's bigger this time.
Yeah.
One.
And after Mr. Higgins left, you know who left?
I'm not sure. I believe it was us. And then my niece, Caitlin, was also like at the door. It was kind of in a row. Brian left. And then a little bit later, I think it was, myself, Matt, Julie, and Sarah left. But Caitlin was at the door. I believe she was waiting for her ride.
How much longer after Mr. Higgins left did you leave?
Okay,
What do you
so
think?
this is, sorry.
Go ahead. What do you think?
So here this is probably a good point to stop it because she's doing it. So internal dialogue, when you're thinking back and like recalling memories, right? You look down and left with your eyes.
Yep.
So you can tell a number of times she has tried to train herself to look there, but either she will look over here, up, or in another direction before she goes there, but she knows she needs to end up there because she thinks she's like fooling someone. So, and then as this continues, she gets more aware of, okay, I need to do that. Instead of your eyes looking down to the left, she even turned her head. She'll do this as if that gives it, the same, but it doesn't. And then she will also turn her body like that. Just trying to fake it because she knows that it's somewhere down there and whatever. But watch her eyes because they're all over the place, and then they will eventually go there.
And she's looking at the jury right now in this freeze.
Yes.
Maybe I have.
I she was about, she turned her whole head.
Honestly can't say. I think he was there for a while I was there. So maybe he left anywhere from
And I think that was also partially rehearsed because if you
Oh,
remember,
yes.
I remember I wasn't looking at the screen, but I was listening when this happened. Hank said something to her about her turning her body to talk to Julie Nagel about the fucking peanut butter.
Yes. No, you're dead on. And then she stayed in that because it's an open state. So it's like showing the jury you have nothing to hide, but it was all planned.
Can we just appreciate this freeze for a
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
You have to have air like making its way out of your mouth
To do it. Yeah.
in order to oh my gosh, I can't even imitate it. All right. Oh god. Oh, and that I don't know if you saw the poll on Twitter of like what brand of peanut butter do we think is in the back of the car?
No,
She's
I
not
didn't
a
see it.
mom. Oh god, it was
She's
like,
not
do
a
you
what?
think it's Skippy? Do you think it's Jif? I was like, oh, that she's a Skippy for sure.
I could see Skippy. I could see
Yeah.
Skippy.
She's the Skippy
Yeah.
girl. 100%.
I could see that.
15 minutes, approximately 15, 20 minutes before I did, or maybe a little more.
You mentioned that you had left the waterfall after midnight,
Yes.
and you had phone calls with Mr. O'Keefe along the way.
Yes.
Do you know that there are phone records with your text messages and phone calls in them?
Yes.
And do you know whether your phone records reflect the time of your calls with Mr. O'Keefe
Yes.
and your text messages?
Yes.
When you were texting and Mr. O'Keefe, when the Lexus or the car was in front of the house, rather, was Mr. Higgins still there?
Yes.
What are some of the things that everybody did along that night before you left? What happened in there?
What happened inside the house?
Yeah.
Nothing. We
What happened,
basically
Bill?
just sat around the table, talked, laughed, listened to music, chit-chatted.
Celebratory?
Yes.
Was there ever any fighting,
No, none at all.
any arguing,
None at all.
any physical interaction?
No, none.
We getting some
When you decided to
Steven
leave that night,
Tyler
say around
vibes.
1:45ish?
Yes.
When you left around 1:45, was there any events that happened that night that would cause you unrest or excitement or your heartbeat to raise?
No.
When you decided to leave, you and your husband, where were you going to go?
We were dropping off Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson, and then we were going home.
Had you planned on dropping them off earlier in the night?
No, when we got there, Julie's brother had pulled up to pick them up, and
I won't ask you what was said because you weren't there.
Oh,
but
okay.
At some point, did you come to an understanding that you would give them a ride home?
That happens when you've rehearsed your statement.
Correct.
The
She
witness
is so
starts going too fast and elaborating, and Hank is like, "We're not there yet.
Yep.
Listen."
Yes.
When you were texting and Mr. O'Keefe, when the Lexus or the car was in front of the house,
Tell
rather,
the two.
was Mr. Higgins still there?
Yes.
What are some of the things that everybody did along that night?
That's my that's my Jennifer McCabe emoji. It's a tooth that says "Tell the tooth."
Dude, it's so good. It never gets old either.
Oh, never, never. The whole tooth and nothing but the tooth.
Night before you left. What happened in there?
What happened inside the house? Nothing. We basically just sat around the table, talked, laughed, listened to music, chit-chatted.
Celebratory?
Yes.
Was there ever any fighting,
No, none at all.
any arguing,
None at all.
any physical interaction?
No, none.
When you decided to leave that night, did you say around 1:45ish?
Yes.
When you left around 1:45, was
Here
there
we go.
any events that happened that night that would cause you unrest or excitement or your heartbeat to raise?
No.
When you decided to leave you and your husband, where were you going to go?
We were dropping off Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson, and then we were going home.
Had you planned on dropping them off earlier in the night?
No, when we got there, Julie's brother had pulled up to pick them up, and
I won't
just.
ask you what was said because you weren't there.
Oh,
but
okay.
At some point, did you come to an understanding that you would give them a ride home?
Yes.
Did you offer?
Yes.
Who was going to drive?
She got so blank in the face. And
Oh,
started
just
turning
wait
right
for
to
it.
The jury.
She forgets her lines a few times.
Oh, does she? Oh my god! But yeah, like her eyes got real golf ball size. We were dropping off Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson, and I can imagine little swirlies in her eyes, like You are all getting very sleepy and very gullible. You believe what I am telling you.
Drive home between you and your husband.
Matt drove home.
When you left, I want you to describe as you step out into the driveway or the walkway. Was it the front door or side door? Remember?
I walked out the front door.
Is the weather like it was when you first got there?
No, it's picked up.
Tell us what you mean by it's picked up.
So as I walk out, you
It's
kind of
picked
go, the walkway is to the left. So I
There
walk down
she
the
is
steps, I go to
again.
the left. The snow was coming, it was cold. The wind was picking up. So I kind of just like curled up and ran to my car quick to get in.
I
What part of the car
ran
did you
to
get
my
into?
car
front
very
passenger.
Who was
quickly.
driving?
Matt,
And where were the other two people?
Sarah and Julie were in
I
the back
have
seat.
a
Who was in which
perfectly
spot?
legitimate
I'm not
reason
exactly
not
sure.
to notice
both
the
of the young
body
women were in
right
the back
by
seat?
my
Yes.
car.
Was there any conversation when you got into the car?
We got in the car and they were teasing me
Why were they teasing you?
because I had like bread and maybe peanut butter in my car.
Why did you have bread and peanut butter in your car?
I had my
We were too busy talking about the Skippy peanut butter in my back seat
It was
to
so
notice
funny.
the body. Oh my god.
We were laughing. That's what she said last trial. Like, oh, we were just laughing.
Laughing so hard.
niece for the week, and I was dragging her like to all my kids' sporting events. So we'd go from like one game to another game to a practice. So sometimes instead of always giving her McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, I'd try to throw her a peanut butter sandwich.
And they were making fun of you?
Yeah.
As the car backs out of the driveway, tell us what you're doing.
I'm talking to the girls.
You just moved your head.
Yes.
Does that mean anything?
Yes.
Tell us.
They were both sitting behind me. So I was like turning and, chatting and talking.
After your husband pulls out of the driveway, do you start to drive home?
Yes.
If the house is on my right and you're driving, are you in the passenger seat closest to the house or furthest away?
Passenger seat closest.
So you're driving, if you look at a picture of the house, you would be driving from right to left?
Yes.
So as you start to drive or your husband starts to drive the car, what direction are you looking in if you remember?
The back seat.
Did you drive by the front of the house, do you know?
We pulled out of the driveway and went up Chapman.
Okay. And your husband and you passed by the front of the house?
Yes.
Did you pass by the flag?
Well, obviously making changes if it's for her kids, it's creamy peanut butter. But I don't know what she would like personally, but she's definitely a Skippy girl.
Skippy.
Probably. Many times I look in the mirror. Oh my god.
Flagpole.
Yes.
Were you looking at the flagpole?
No.
And how dark was it at that point?
It was dark.
Snow?
Yes.
As you're passing the flagpole, do you hear or see anything remarkable?
No, I'm not really paying attention. I'm just chatting to the girls and Matt's just focusing on driving.
When you're talking to the girls and they're making fun of you, what's the mood in the car?
We're all laughing and joking.
Where do you go next?
We drive Julie Nagel home.
After you drop off in Snaggle, where do you go?
We drop off Sarah Levinson.
Is the weather constant?
Yes.
After you drop off the young woman in separate spots, where do you go?
We went home.
Can you tell us when you get home what happens next?
We go in the house. I go up to bed. Matt makes himself a snack. And then
Okay, so a sip of beer for every time. Like, this could be a drinking game, literally. A sip of beer for every time she sticks her lips in her mouth, folds them back in, and then a shot every time she looks at the jury, like wide-eyed.
Dude. And that's like, if you're an expert witness, okay, yes, that is appropriate. Look at the jury to tell them their findings. This right here is Amber Heard, and it is not appropriate. The jury feels uncomfortable because you are staring at them. Like, that's weird. So
I'm not even in the room. I'm just looking at this freeze, and she's making me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just in this freeze. She makes me feel like I need to see a gastroenterologist.
She is scary looking. Woo! It's a good one.
Sing with
joins me upstairs.
Do you have a telephone?
Yes.
An iPhone?
Yes.
When you go to bed, do you stay up at all?
Yes.
Do you use your iPhone?
Yes, I do.
What were you doing?
I texted a few people and then I did a couple of Google searches.
And what were the searches for?
One, my daughter had played in a basketball game earlier in the night and it was a very good game. So I went and I read the report on it. And then my other daughter had an offer to play on a basketball team. So
when she gets defensive, she gets very breathy.
Yes.
Have you noticed
yes.
that? Like when
Yep.
she was talking to Jackson last year, like, I did not delete a bunch of phone calls.
Yep.
I
Yep.
was just, you know,
And
there.
those are start and stop sentences, which is also a trigger for something that is not truthful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when she's getting kind of defensive about something, she takes a breath like every 3 words.
One, my daughter had played in a basketball game earlier in the night, and it was a very good game. So I went and I read the report on it. And then my other daughter had an offer to play on a basketball
did they do
team.
a poll?
So we had to make a decision about whether or not we were going to accept the spot. So I was just looking up that basketball club.
Other than those regular searches that one would do, is there anything remarkable about what you were searching at 2:27 that time frame?
No.
After you were looking at websites for your child's sports, what did you do?
I put my phone down and went to sleep.
And up to that point, had there been any discord or fighting or arguments in your world?
No.
There's a shoulder shrug that is coming up.
I have to go to the bathroom, so I could have gotten up possibly to go to the bathroom.
Did anything remarkable
Oh my
happen in the early morning
God.
hours?
Are you shitting me?
Mm-hmm.
I froze a little, so I'm going to go back in case any of y'all missed that big whopper.
Basketball club.
Other than those regular searches that one would do, was there anything remarkable about what you were searching at 2:27 that time frame?
No.
Nothing remarkable.
After you were looking at websites for your child's sports, what did you do?
I put my phone down and went to sleep.
And up to that point, had there been any discord or fighting or arguments in your world?
No.
Peaceful night?
Yes.
Did you go to sleep, Ms. McCabe?
Yes.
Did you sleep through the night?
I typically get up to go to the bathroom, so I could have gotten up possibly to go to the bathroom.
Did anything remarkable happen in the early morning hours of January 29, 2022 that changed that peaceful mood into something else?
Yes.
I want you to share with the jury the first thing that happens that changes everything.
At 4:53, my phone rings, and I look at my caller ID. I look at the phone, and it's Kaylee, John's niece. John's niece. And I say hello, and she said, "Yeah." Well, basically, she relayed to me that
Next question.
When you pick up the phone, could you hear a voice on the other end?
I heard a voice and a lot of screaming.
And the voice you heard, is that Kaylee, John's niece?
Yes,
And the screaming, was it a man or a woman screaming?
it was a woman.
How loud was that person screaming?
Very loud.
Could you make out anything that person was saying as they were screaming?
My name was screamed a lot, and then the other individual ended up getting on the phone with me.
And who was that person that was screaming in the background?
Miss Reed.
How long was she screaming for while you were speaking to your niece before you spoke to her?
She has started saying Miss Reed. She was just saying the defendant in the last trial. She's trying to come across as more likable, less combative.
But what does that tell you? Like, one she was probably prepped for, and the other one slip ups.
Well, and then think about this too. They tried the same thing with Carrie Roberts for this trial because if you remember, Carrie had said, I didn't say anything about the taillight because I didn't want to accuse Karen of anything.
Yep.
The entire time I was speaking to Kaylee, she was screaming.
Describe her demeanor.
Miss Reed's?
Yes.
Jen! And then she's screaming that John didn't come home. She left him at the water.
I don't know how that think that helps their case. Like, just saying Jen in a normal tone.
Yeah. I
You
can
look
guarantee
crazy, number
you-
one.
Yeah. I can guarantee you that on Saturday, when she came in and spent the weekend prepping with Hank looked her dead in the face and said, whatever you do not imitate Karen saying Jen.
You do a very good Hank, by the way.
I tried. All you really have to do is plug your nose, and it's
It's
pretty good.
true. It's true,
Yeah.
but I'm impressed.
But he must have gotten up in her face and said that. We
Yeah.
need to
Well-
be likable. We
Yes.
need to not look like assholes.
And you'll see later when she does it again, it's a totally different Jen.
I mean, it
But
wasn't
she
quite
just
as
couldn't help herself.
snarly. It wasn't quite as snarly as the last one, but I can't believe she fucking did that again.
Yep.
Heard. Is that Kaylee, John's niece?
Yes,
And the screaming, was it a man or a woman screaming?
it was a woman.
How loud was that person screaming?
Very loud.
Could you make out anything that person was saying as they were screaming?
My name was screamed a lot. And then the other individual ended up getting on the phone with me.
And who's that person that was screaming in the background?
Miss Reed.
How long was she screaming for while you were speaking to your niece before you spoke to her?
The entire time I was speaking to Kaylee, she was screaming.
Describe her demeanor.
Miss Reed's?
Yes.
Jen! And then she's screaming that John didn't come home. She left him at
I'll
the
be right
waterfall.
back.
She was hysterical. I was very hard to follow what she was saying.
How long did that first call last for?
I'm not sure how long, maybe possibly a few minutes, but it was loud enough and long enough that my husband shot up in bed thinking one of my kids had come in the room screaming.
Without saying what your niece said, could you describe your niece's demeanor when you first spoke to her? I mean, John.
Okay, let me just tell y'all right now that if my husband, Mr. Britt Happens, was woken up by me being on and off the phone with screaming people over a missing person. Oh, have a great night, Catherine. Thanks for being here. If he heard that and there were a snowstorm going on, my husband would not be letting me go look for a missing person by myself. Yeah, I know. She is munching on him every time she lies. That is one of her tells. Just keep watching. But what husband, like, okay, let's just say, so in Florida, we get hurricanes with regularity. So yeah, if there's a hurricane coming and a friend of mine turns up missing, my husband is telling me to park my ass on the couch and not go anywhere, and he will go out and find my friend. Okay, SB says, of course, mine wouldn't either. Yeah. I don't know what husband would. Unless things were really bad between them. But even then.
I would say Kaylee sounded concerned, uneasy.
During that phone call, other than the screaming and the screaming of your name, did the defendant give you any information other than she had dropped John off at the waterfall?
They had gotten into a fight. She had left him there and he didn't come home.
And when you were woken up, were you in a sleep when you were woken up?
Yes, I was sound asleep.
What was your mental state like when you first woke up and got that call?
Well, I had been up late. I had taken my medication that I take for my MS. So I was definitely a bit groggy when I first woke up. So immediately I just wanted to help her. She was hysterical. Kaylee was upset. So I went into that kind of mom mode of what.
So Jen McCabe has taken her Ambien and her ketamine and her Valium, and she's about to go into mom mode.
Yeah, I wonder what medicine it is. I wonder if the defense will ask her tomorrow.
Don't know. Sounds like a sleeping pill. She said she was groggy.
What can I do? How can I help? So I immediately was like thinking, okay, well, if you left him at the waterfall, let me think who was still there, or, how can I help you? How can we find John?
Did you have a plan when you ended that first call?
I did. I knew Chris Albert still.
We have a lot of Twitter viewers tonight. 398 on Twitter.
Awesome.
Right now. Hello, Twitter and Twitter/X viewers. It's kind of an off ratio. Typically, it's way more YouTube than X, but not today.
still been at the
like
waterfall
it.
when I left. So I thought if Karen and John had gotten into a fight, maybe Chris had walked out of the bar, and Chris lived local to the bar. Thought maybe they walked back to Chris's together.
So what did you do?
So I called Chris Albert's wife, Julie.
Did you speak to her?
No, she never answered.
After you had a moment to make a phone call and think about things, did your head become any
she?
more clear?
Oh, wait, did
It
she
did,
do it
and
again?
I was, reminded.
Because remember, Julie Albert said that she found out about John's death by getting a call around 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So Kaylee was upset. So I went into that kind of mom mode of what can I do? How can I help? So I immediately was like thinking, okay, well, if you left him at the waterfall, let me think who was still there, or, how can I help you? How can we find John?
Did you have a plan when you ended that first call?
I did. I knew Chris Albert had still been at the waterfall when I left. So I thought if Karen and John had gotten into a fight, maybe Chris had walked out of the bar, and Chris lived local to the bar. Thought maybe they walked back to Chris's together.
So what did you do?
So I called Chris Albert's wife, Julie.
Did you speak to her?
No, she never answered.
After you had a moment to make a phone call and think about things, did your head become any more clear?
Look at that one. That was like
reminded by my husband that we had seen Karen and John's car outside of Fairview.
When he reminded you, did you independently remember the text messages that you sent to John earlier that evening?
Immediately, I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Did you remember that you had seen what you believed to be the defendant's car in front of the house and near the flagpole?
Watch the phone.
Okay. What did you remember? What came to mind after you spoke to your husband about your memory from earlier that evening?
The minute he said it, I remember seeing the SUV and then all the text messages that I had and the phone conversation with John.
So after the defendant spoke to you and said she had left the defendant at the waterfall and you had time to think about your memories, did you react or do anything with that?
Yes, I believe I called Kaylee back.
Why did you call Kaylee?
I didn't have Miss Reed's phone number.
Love it.
When you called Kaylee back, did you speak to anybody?
Yes, I believe Kaylee and then Miss Reed.
When you first spoke to Kaylee, could you hear anything other than Kaylee?
The screaming.
Was it any different, or was it similar to the first time you spoke by phone?
Similar to the first time.
Regarding the demeanor or intensity, had it changed at all?
Not at all.
You mentioned the first time that you had that phone call, the defendant was screaming your name. Jen,
Yes.
Jen. Was she saying your name in the second call, or was it just general screaming?
My name. And then when she got on the phone, I had told her, Karen, I saw you guys outside of my sister's house. And then she told me she didn't remember being there. And then she went on to say, she started saying, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? I don't. And then she just was just all over the place, like screaming my name, screaming so many different things.
Second. That's the first. Jen has never claimed before. Because remember, at this point, Karen has not backed her car into John's SUV.
Right?
At the time that she's calling Jen McCabe right now, she hasn't backed her car into John's SUV yet. In the
What
last
time are we
trial,
at?
it's 5 a.m. And
Okay.
Karen has just woken up, gotten Kaylee up, starting to call around and see if anybody knows where he is because he didn't come home. She hasn't left. Now,
Okay.
prior testimony never claimed that she mentioned anything about possibly him hitting him
On the phone.
on the
Right?
phone or at any time prior to her backing her car into Officer O'Keefe.
Mhm.
Not O'Keefe, his vehicle. I'm so sorry. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Backing into his Chevy Traverse. All the other times, I could, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember anybody before saying that Karen had even an inkling that she had hit John before.
I don't think it ever happened. I don't think there was any allegations of that on the phone at all.
Yeah. And not before noticing that her taillight was cracked. And she did not notice that her taillight was cracked until after she cracked it hitting O'Keefe's car.
Right.
So I think this is the first time that she is saying that she began asking that possibility. You found me on Twitter, Charles? Okay. So I think this is the first time anybody is saying that she had even suggested that before backing her car up that morning.
Yeah, like if you're not lying, what do you need to add all these things? Come on.
I know. I know. That's part of why, by the way, Hank is going so fast with her. He's trying to stop her before she elaborates on anything.
She was hard to follow or understand.
When she was saying to you, did I hit him? Could have I hit him? Was that before or after you informed her that you had seen her out front of your sister's house?
It was after I told her that. She also informed me that she had cracked her taillight.
In that conversation, she told you that?
In one of the conversations I had with her in my bedroom, yes.
When you told her that you had seen her out front, she had said that she didn't remember that night. Was that before or after she was saying, did I hit him? Could have I hit him?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
She was telling you about that she didn't remember that night. Was that before or after you had told her about seeing her car?
When I said I saw her at Fairview, then her response was she didn't even remember going there.
Did she ever deny that she came to Mr. Oakey's house? I mean, to your sister's house?
No.
When she told you or said to you, did I hit him or could have I hit him or something like that, did you have any idea what she was talking about?
No, I didn't pay attention to it.
When she told you that she had cracked her taillight the night before, did that have any significance at that time to you?
No.
So in telling you these different things, did you ever piece them together at that time?
No.
What was your primary motivation at that point?
I just wanted to help her because she was hysterical. Kaylee was very upset, so I wanted to help her, and I wanted to find John.
So after she told you these things about whether she could have did hit her and the light and not remembering, did the conversation end or did it progress?
At some point, I was then going into like, okay, well, if she brought him there and left him there, where was he? Because he never came in the house, and she doesn't know where he is. So now where could he be? So I started thinking there was another gentleman that was supposed to meet us out at the bar who John was friends with. So
this is all her coming up with some kind of reason to prevent Karen from going straight to 34 Fairview.
Yep.
100%. Guys, we're going to wrap it up here for the night. Please come back for the cross-examination tomorrow. Oh my God, it's going to be so great. I mean, we haven't even finished her direct. We haven't finished her direct, but ooh. And now we know to watch for her going into present tense and her snacking on her lips. Because those are two tells of hers. 100%. Thank you so much, Loren, for
of course
joining us tonight. It's always good having you, and it's awesome having a Florida girl doing this with us.
I know. It's excellent.
Yeah, Baker, thank you for being here. It didn't change that much yet. But I do you remember this, Broken Baker? Because I don't remember anybody claiming that she had suggested possibly hitting John prior to her backing her SUV into his car. I thought the first
on
time
the phone too.
Right. I don't think she said anything about it on the phone. Or at least nobody claims she did. But that's something we'll have to go back and double check.
There's some other goodies that I feel like she didn't say as well that are we haven't yet.
We'll figure it out. We'll go through it. All right, y'all. Well, we all need to get to bed because we got work en la mañana. But we appreciate all of you coming here with us. Join us next time to pick apart her cross-examination. Oh, it's going to be so good. I am chomping at the bit to see that. So
big day tomorrow.
Oh yeah, very big day. Thank you again, Loren. It's always great having you. Well,
Bye,
you take
chat.
care. Have a great night.
Bye. I figure out how to end it.
I'll get you out. Here we go. I'll take you. Bye. Oh, goodness. Don't you guys just love her? We are definitely going to keep having her back. I mean, honestly, mi casa es tu casa. She can come back whenever she wants. It's an open invite. Y'all, I'm gonna get ready for bed. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will see you very, very soon. Peace, love, and butt dials. If you need to get a hold of me, here's where you can find me on other platforms or email me. And I will leave this up here for you for just a little bit. Y'all take care. Good night.